And we're telling you all about the latest developments in the community, where to be, where to go, how to live your life, give and optimize your potential. Boom, alongside brother Dougie. And it's a full, powerful show today. Big up Raggedy, old time Raggedy. You're going to be at the awards on the 27th. Boom, big up Raggedy. Also, Raggedy, do you know we're doing I'm doing an etymology lecture on Sunday, you know? Yeah, this Sunday, so maybe we could spin some tunes, bring some tunes down there and spin some tunes. This Sunday, St. Anne's Library, N15, etymology lecture, the origins of the African language and its influence on the in the European language. Tell you more about that. Hopefully we'll have Raggedy down there as well. Here comes the danger. Oh, we got brother Dougie, Lord, brother Dougie in the house alongside. Here comes trouble in a different way. Positive trouble. You ever heard positive trouble? That's brother Dougie. Keep you positive, otherwise you're in trouble. And bigging up Active Futures, fantastic event. You want to see how Dougie pulled that one together last Saturday. Was it last Saturday? Gone already? Wow, time is flying. Boom. I don't know how Critters managed to. I don't know how you got Critters on the bill, because you know he's banned from Bless, don't you? So he should have been nowhere near the venue, making a spectacle of himself. We can also tell you about the latest SETI developments. SETI coming to London, courtesy of Bless. And the Speakers Club Award of the Year, you can award your favourite speaker, and I've just seen the awards. Fabulous set of awards as well to give away. Boom. And today's show, we're going to focus on language, going to focus on the upcoming event this Sunday. They've only got, sorry, no, getting confused again, St. Anne's Library, where I'll be breaking down the African origins of language and its influence on the European, so-called European language. Also in attendance, we're going to have live the Galaxy Man of the Week, the Mr. Vodun Man, Dr. Abu Ratata will be alongside me, myself, Jammers. Also, Brother Minty will be in the house, and also Minty will be in the house, also Brother Dougie. So we've got heavyweights going to be presenting the topic on the influence and origin of African language. Sorry, the African language, its origin and influence on European language. We're also going to have live PAs from Forward Recordings, and it's going to be also etymology workshop, question and answer, and live discussion on the power and influence word and language. You should not leave that session the same again. Once again, that's taking place this Sunday at St. Anne's Library. So yeah, Dougie, how's it going, man? Good to see you live here.
Yes, boom family. Yes, first I want to give thanks and praise to the Most High. Give thanks for life. Give thanks to Bless Radio. And big up to Raggedy. Raggedy arms look big, man. His forearm look like massive. I don't know what Raggady's been doing. You know, I'm just on the private training or whatever. But him look big, man. You know, Raggedy. You know, he might wear t-shirt and all them thing there. So Raggedy on him t-shirt a boost out, you know. So Raggedy, you hear when I was talking? Yeah. I say your forearms look big, man. All your hand them look big on your chest. Look on my neck. Look at you ever take on Mike Tyson. You know? Mike Tyson wasn't around, you know what I mean? Look like you want to deal with Mike Tyson and them man there, where you look like you do some secret training or you do something, man. You know? You look powerful, man, you know? Yeah. Right. Well, Raggedy, you look big, man. But even still, come back to the Jam Master show, and we do have an impact. And in earlier on, we did play some recording of the. He is a scholar. He talks to you all thing about language, and I said we need to play that because that's Jammers' area, all thing about language. And Joe, I don't even listen to some of the reason what the
I was listening to what he's reasoning, and what I find about a lot of these scholars is they use so many big words that by the time you finish hearing them, you know, you're lost in a worse position because you're trying to work out, well, what does that word really mean? Then he goes on to another big word. What does that word really mean? And by the time they've taken such a long time to explain something that could be explained direct, that sometimes you have to wonder, do they really know what they're talking about?
Yeah.
Because basically, what you find with scholars, even basic teaching, you don't really get a skill. All it is, they give you a more word. So basically, sound. Another word for sound is phonology. Yeah. So basically, phonology means sound. Phonology as in the word phone. Everything with the word phone in it really means sound. So it's like to go and study a language, you got to learn what phonology is, and phonology just means sound. So all it is, you're learning another word. You're not able to do a better skill with the language and be able to twist your words and wrap up the words like D pen and end up in the D pen, if depending on your usage of the pen. You can't have no skill with words with it. You're just learning another word. So meaning is syntax. So they're gonna try and make you feel like you sin, and then they're gonna tax you. That's what the church does, so meaning just means syntax. So basically, all you're learning is another word for meaning. Syntax is just another word for me. You see what I'm saying?
Okay,
so this is all and then you so-called know the language, but all it is, you've just known another word. It hasn't given you no skill with your vowel, your pronunciation, your skill on words, your confidence with words, your ability to display words in a different way. Doesn't give you no skill.
Okay then. All right. I just want to again just to thank all those who came at the West Indian Culture Centre Saturday just gone. That's the women's group organised the Health Matters, and again we need to thank all the speakers who were there, as well as Critters, who was the opening act.
How do you think Critters went there?
I tell you, Critters kind of frightened everybody. It was amazing. You know what I mean? His entrance. You know what I mean? And he's he used up the stage, and he had a massive presence. I think it worked in a way that you kind of got people waking up, and people were kind of frightened because they wonder who this guy is. You know what I mean? People thought this madman, or what kind of show, really? But I mean, Critters, he kind of talked about the behavior of the whole people and the whole thing about drinking and the doctors and this and that. And Critters got straight to the point, But I mean, Critters got a lot of work to do on himself as well, you know what I mean? But Critters, it was good.
Okay.
That's what I have to say. Critters very good. So we give thanks to Critters. Also we give thanks to Sister Lisa, known as Juice, who had talk about the whole thing about diabetes, and also focus around education with mostly around the young children them, and she was very good. Also we had Vasco talking about prostate cancer, and also touched the whole thing about health. Also we had Ken Darkey, who spoke about fibroids, and also we had Russ McCoy, who touched on the whole thing about mental health. And it really was a nice little vibes. People was interactive, and the stalls then was make it a little bit more flavour, so it really was vibes. And his vibes when people don't want to leave, so it really was a amazing event. So I'll give thanks to the West Indian Culture Centre and the Women's Group Committee, and also Find Your Voice, who also was involved in terms of helping to put this together last week Saturday. So that is good, and it doesn't stop there, because we know that this week and a week after we have a amazing event, and this is where Jammers is going to be going full steam ahead. And Jammers, you need to recap, because the theme is this Saturday is looking at the whole thing about language, and most today's show, what we're going to do, talking about the whole thing about language. Just touching it briefly, because I mean Sunday we'll be going into more depth at the St. Anne's Library, so Jam, just pre people in terms of what you'll be touching on, just a little brief. And what Jam should we be speaking on? Right. So what I'm gonna do, why Jam just get it up together? Jam, you got something there you want to do? Yeah, No, just
The moment the kids begin to speak. At the two-word stage, which you typically see in children who are 18 months or a bit older, kids are producing the smallest sentences that deserve to be counted as sentences, namely 2 words long, but already it's clear that they're putting them together using rules in their own mind. To take an example, a child might say, more outside, meaning take him outside or let him stay outside. Now, adults don't say more outside, so it's not a phrase that the child could simply have memorized by rote, but it shows that already children are using
African origin and influence on European language with renowned speakers DS Jammers, Dr. Abu Ratata Vudum, Brother Dougie and Ras Minty with live PAs by Forward Recording. This event includes an etymology workshop, question and answer and live discussion in language with Nubia House and Find Your Voice presents the African origin and influence on European language with renowned speakers DS Jammers, Dr. Abu Ratata Vudum, Brother Dougie and Ras Minty with live PAs by Forward Recording. This event includes an etymology workshop, question and answer and live discussion. Venue, St. Anne's Library, Sisbury Road, Tottenham, N15 5PU. This is a free admission family event. Date, Sunday the 21st of October 2018. For stores and information, contact 07931 417 553 or 07940 315 710. Start time 2 p.m. till 6 p.m. This is a family event. Sponsored
Be quitters.
the origin of.
Sorry me disturb you.
Chris is getting everywhere. He's even messed up the ad. Well, yeah, this is all taking place this Sunday. And as I said, we're going to talk about the African origin and influence on the European language. And also we're going to have an etymology workshop, question and answer, live discussion alongside Dr. Abu Ratata, also alongside Rasminti and Brother Dougie. And Brother Dougie, you give out your numbers as well for stores?
yes, 0788240371. I repeat, 0788240371. So, anybody wants stools, feel free to give me a call.
And also, if you want to contribute, the number to call the station right now. If you want anything you want to discuss about languages, 079 444 31366. Once again, 079 444 31366. Right. First thing I'm going to say about the language is that the African origin is left out of the language system. When you look in a dictionary, the person who constructs the dictionary is usually not an Egyptologist or has no knowledge of ancient language. There's no real reference towards any form of ancient language in the dictionary, and also in schools there is no indication of any origin of language other than Greek. Etymology is made up of two Greek words called etymos and logi. Etymos means true, and logi means the science of, also it means word. So basically, etymology means the true word. So if etymology means the true word, that means the words that you look in the dictionary are false words or codes. So the only way to know the true word is to look towards the origin of the word. When you find the origin of the word, then you find the true meaning of the word. Okay, so that's the first thing about language, especially the English language or any language that doesn't give you the etymological meaning. It means it's a code. It's a code language. It's giving you a basic understanding of the word, but not the true meaning of the word. And the next thing is, if etymology is a Greek word, that means it's trying to tell you that the origin of language is in Greece. Yeah. When, if there's older civilizations than Greece, that even means that etymology is a lie.
So what do you mean by that then?
Well, the word etymology means the origin of words. Yeah. And when you go to a dictionary to find where words originate from, you'll end up with seeing a Latin or Greek origin, or maybe a Sanskrit or Indo-European origin. So etymology is telling you that the true word is in Greek, Latin, or Sanskrit. There's no reference to Africa.
So it is all a lie, you're saying?
Everything seems to be is a lie, because basically Greek culture never created paper. They didn't have no paper to write on. They used parapus, Egyptian parapus. Parapus was used 5,000 years ago. So the oldest form of paper that was in existence was parapus. So if the oldest form of paper is in parapus, is a Nubian paper, that just proves already that the original civilization to write on paper were of African origin. Now that so-called professor was saying a million of one big words, you know, but he never said nothing in relation to where language originates from.
Okay then, and that's where you kind of draw part from, so to speak, coming from, because you're not really dealing with the original words, where it comes from.
That's right, because basically most things what you see is dictionary talk.
Yeah.
Dictionary talk is when you look for a word in a dictionary, it just gives you another 5 words. It doesn't tell you the true word. It gives you another 5 words. So you never get to know the core element. It's like basically even language is used as a weapon, so it's used to hide the truth. Because if I don't tell you my secrets, you know, then you can never get my power. Knowledge is power, because if you go to France and you don't know French, the person who knows French has the power over you. Let's see.
Well, that's very powerful. You said it. Say that again. That's very powerful.
Yeah. So if you, I said knowledge is power. Yeah. So if you go to France and you don't know French, the person who knows French has the power over you. And then that shows you all languages are code. So with that reasoning, if you get in trouble with law and you don't know the language of law, the person who knows the language of law, like the policeman or the lawyer, has the power over you. If you get sick and you go to a doctor and you don't know the code of the medical words, the doctor has the power over you. If you don't know physics and then you go into science, the person who has the knowledge of physics has the power over you. So language is related to your consciousness. So, but it's written in a code. So you have to as I was saying, law has a code, biology has a code. Even when you go to the bank, they have a code of talking. Rappers have a code. So it's a code, and this is a way that you can gauge how conscious the person is with your code or your area by the words that you use. So if your car's broken down and you go to a mechanic, by the words that you use, if you know the accelerator, clutch, then the mechanic will know, oh, this man's conscious of the problem, so I better not overcharge him.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
But if you go, boy, my car broke down, I don't understand. Well, the mechanic will know. I can overcharge. I can charge as much as I want from this person.
Because you don't know. You don't understand.
That's right. So basically,
that's right.
So it's not even language. It's when someone lands, you can gauge their level of intelligence or what move to make.
Let me play a bit more for about a couple of minutes, and then we can digest, because I know there's a man like for digest.
When a language user deliberately manipulates the rules of phonology, that is, when they don't just speak in order to convey content, but they pay attention as to what phonological structures are being used, we call it poetry and rhetoric. So far, I've been talking about knowledge of language, the rules that go into defining what are possible sequences of language. But those sequences have to get into the brain, during speech comprehension, and they have to get out during speech production. And that takes us to the topic of language interfaces. And let's start with production. This diagram here is literally a human cadaver that has been sawn in half. An anatomist took a saw and went zzzz, allowing you to see in cross-section the human vocal.
You see, now this is what I mean about wisdom. Wisdom really means to make something complicated so the other person doesn't understand what you're talking about. So basically what he's doing, he's turning a simple process by using a complicated code to turn it into something that you can't really understand. You know, because you don't want to seem that you're stupid, you're not going to ask a question, you just nod your head or just try to take some of it in and hope some of it sinks in. So here, this is a perfect example of how you can use words and turn it into a code, you know. So and affect somebody's consciousness by you when you use some people, especially if they like to feel that they're educated in an argument, they'll just use a big word just to throw you off guard, you know. And because you don't know the definition of the word that they've just used, then they feel so that they've won the argument. Well, education actually comes from the word educate.
Educate means draw out, Santa.
What do you think that means?
It means to draw out. Was Vin to draw out?
Yeah, E means to draw out.
Draw out, yeah.
I'm going to just go into some of my lecture that I'm having ready for, to just break down some stuff here. A second. Okay. Yeah, education. Right. The first thing about reading, means back, and ad means to move back. So even the word read is a code. It means to look back at the word. You know, so RE means back, as remember, recall, renew, revigorate. So every time you see the word RE, you know it means back. Ad means to move. Admire, that's when your eyes are moving to someone you like. Advance, that's when you put your car in first gear and the car moves forwards. You know, advocate is when you speak towards something. So add means move, and as in mathematics, when you add money to yourself, you're moving towards having more money. So see this, so the word read is a code. It's not just the letters that they trick you into thinking that. It's not READ. See, hidden in the word is a word sound. It's hidden in the word. It's ORD. ORD, when you say it, is ORD. ORD means sound, as in audio. So if you look at the word look at the word, you see the word ORD in it. ORD means sound. So every word has a hidden sound in it, like audio, you know. But even in the hidden sound, if you look at the word order and you put ER, you get the word order. So order is when I make a sound that you have to follow. You see, so hidden in words are sounds, and your brain actually hears the sound but doesn't see the letter. You know,
hear the sound
but doesn't see the letter.
letter.
So if I say next week, your brain will process week as in having no energy, as well as week as in days of the week. But the verb week is an action to do. So the action to do is more powerful than just the noun. So basically, emotion is more powerful than reasoning. Yeah. So you can reason that you lost your wallet. Yeah. And the best thing to do is you can't get it back. So what I'll have to do is just take the loss and just be aware in future. So you've just walked down the street. You've lost your wallet with £150 in it. The reasonable action is, oh, I've lost my wallet. I just better be aware in future, and I'll move on. The emotion behind losing your wallet is, why me lose my wallet? I'm gonna say to my girl because the money me had in that was for my child. So the emotion overrides the reasoning. So every time you hear a word, the emotion of the word or the action will override the reasoning behind the word.
Scene. Seen.
You see, and this is all language is designed to do, is to make you emotional,
Right.
to make you move in a certain way.
Now then, if someone out there listening right now and they want to get involved in words, etymology, and you know they've got interesting words and they want to, how would you advise them? What's the direction you would advise them to do?
Well, first thing, they have to know what to look for to find the true meaning of the word, the etymology of the word. So etymology just means the original meaning of the word. So basically, you can find it hidden in the dictionary. You go to a dictionary, inside the word, when you look at a word in the dictionary, the first word after it's called the entry word. So the first word after the entry word, in brackets, you see the sound that the word is supposed to make. So that's called the phonetics of the word. So every word, every time you go to a dictionary, you'll see the entry word, then you'll see the sound that you need that the word makes in brackets. After the sound, so entry word, after that you'll see brackets with how you're supposed to, the sound that the word's supposed to make. That's called the phonetics of the word. Then you'll see what the word is as a verb, adjective, or a noun. So you'll see the function of the word. So once again, entry word, what sound the word makes, then the function of the word, adverb, adjective, noun, pronoun. You see the function. Then you get a set of meanings. You get 3 or 4 meanings, which is other ways to use the word or other orders to do. And then after you get all that in a small square bracket, you'll see the origin of the word, which is the etymology. So you'll see the origin. So you might get, and it's in brackets. So you might see LAT for Latin. You might see ME for Middle English. You might see FR for French. So you'll see a little abbreviation of the language, original language where the word comes from. So basically, every time you look for a word in the dictionary, it has to be a big dictionary. You go to the bottom of the dictionary to find the true meaning of the word.
So how would you study the dictionary? What's the best way to look at a dictionary?
It's very simple, because basically what happens if you look at a word like conversation, you go to the dictionary, you'll see the word conversation. This is for example. Then you'll see in brackets how to say the sound conversation. Then you'll see conversation, you'll see it maybe as a verb. So the function of conversation would be a verb. Then you give a different meaning to talk, to communicate, to come together, to discuss. So you get the 3 meanings. Then in brackets, you'll see the origination of it. You'll see maybe Latin, you might see maybe Middle English, French. Then you get to Latin or Greek. When you get to Latin or Greek, it will start to break down the word. You'll see con plus verse. So you see con meaning with, and you see verse meaning to turn. So all you got to do, any word you want to find what the true meaning is, you go to the dictionary, look at the bottom, the very last line of the word, you'll see the true meaning. The next way is to go on your phone. You look at the word on your phone and scroll down. It won't show you the true meaning. You have to keep scrolling down to the bottom, and then after the barrier comes through, then you see the true meaning. So it's always the last small little writing at the bottom of the word.
Gives you the true meaning of the word.
The true meaning of the word.
Okay, then. That's why German is known as the one of, well, I'm saying the best in the world, but one of the best out there, with some other individuals. Is there a wordsmith out there who breaks down words on your level out there?
Yeah, there's quite a few, and I'm following I'm following some of the greats who have. Alan Bay is one. Alan Bay.
I've heard of Alan Bay.
Yeah, he's excellent. And there's the woman that I think she's passed. Oh, there's what? I think her name's Zodakis or Zadakis.
Okay then.
Yeah. She was a powerful woman, and she passed away. And there was another one, I can't even remember her name, but she done something about the fog. So there's about 3 of them that I know that are really been excelling in this field.
Okay.
And then there's other people who's done research.
Research
like linguistics, who are Ferdinand de Saussure. He was the father of linguistics, so he actually came up with the theory of linguistics, which is currently the foundation of how language is used today. And then there's certain sciences like semiotics, which is the study of meaning. You know, so there's various avenues that you can actually find them in the web. But I don't know. I think what I do is slightly different from what everybody else does.
So what it does,
yeah, because I'm not a scholar. I haven't been fooled by education. You know, so my mind's open to it. My mind works things out by itself a lot of the time. It's not like I take information that's there already. My mind will work out things that's not there and break things down.
Okay, then. Let me just play a bit more of this.
Principle of pragmatics is called the cooperative principle. Namely, assume that your conversational partner is working with you to try to get a meaning across truthfully and clearly. Our knowledge of pragmatics, like our knowledge of syntax and phonology and so on, is deployed effortlessly, but involves many intricate computations. For example, if I were to say, if you could pass the guacamole, that would be awesome. You understand that as a polite request, meaning, give me the guacamole. You don't interpret it literally as a rumination about a hypothetical state of affairs. You just assume that the person wanted something and was using that string of words to convey the request politely. Often, comedies will use the absence of pragmatics in robots as a source of humor. As in the old Get Smart situation comedy, which had a robot named Jaime, and a recurring joke in the series would be that Maxwell Smart would say to Jaime, Jaime, can you give me a hand? And Jaime will then go, remove his hand and pass it over to Maxwell Smart, not understanding that give me a hand in context means help me rather than literally transfer the hand over to me. Or take the following example.
Yeah, that's just proving my example. Basically, they just take simple conversation and turned it into complex set of code. So basically, they're speaking in a code. It's almost like they've invented another foreign language. You know, so basic communication is like what they do. They take it and put a big word to it. So that means they now become the source of power, because the only way to have an understanding of the language now is to go to them so they can explain the new big words they've invented to replace the simple words. Because basically all he's saying is sound and meaning, you know, sound and meaning. There's different ways that when you say something, it has an effect on the person listening to it. Simple, that's all he's saying. Syntax just means meaning. Pragmatics just means the way you speak, you know, in conversation. So basically, this is another trick that they play, is that they put a big word on something simple. All that gives you is a knowledge of big words. It doesn't give you the skill of a language. It doesn't make you be able to be one of the best rappers in the world, or have a skill with words, or how to improve your memory, or how to have an oratory skill or rhetoric skill, or master the art of speaking. It's just learning a big. So basically, it's just most of the education is just learning another language, another big word instead of small words.
Okay then. And it's very important that we focus on what's being said here, because, you know, there's a lot of trickery in language, as James was saying, you know, and if you don't know what you're looking for, you'll be tricked all the time, you know. And there's a point what James is trying to say, that, I mean, that's why it's very important to digest. Do your research, continue doing your research, and as part of you doing your research, question, because one of the things we'll be talking about, the whole thing about the straw man, right? And it kind of ties in what James is talking about, the whole thing about etymology, the root of words, because once we start to understand the straw man, and in fact, I say to people right now, type in, you know, we call Google, meet your straw man, and you'll be surprised the amount of things what comes up. See? And you know something, James, you know the film Wizard of Oz?
Yeah.
You know that's based around the straw man?
Yeah, I do understand. I'm not really a specialist in the straw man, but I do know that law is another code. You know, all law is a code, because basically that's another thing. How language started. It started with law, and there's a code of law. You said so basically, who knows the code has the power.
Has the power, absolutely right. And repeat what James just said. Who understands the code and it's got the power? That's why in the courts there's certain code they use, certain symbols they use. They dress in a certain kind of way, you know, and they've got the power because it's cold.
So
You know.
basic.
Sorry, Jammers.
Yes, I'll go.
That it's quite interesting, James. I'm gonna say here, right? That you bring your case to when you got a case, you bring it to court, right? Yeah. But the interesting, right? The people who run the court, if you look at the history, they're a bunch of criminals, right? And it's like you bring your case to a bunch of criminals, hoping you get justice. You see, I just want to throw it into the mix, James, because when you talk about the code, right? Because they know the code, and therefore they got the power. See, I just want to bring the mix, and therefore they're manipulating everything what we're doing out there.
Basically, it's called the criminal justice system. Justice for the criminals.
That one is bad, man. I never thought about that, Yeah, I never thought that. I said that again. I have to remember that one,
Yeah, but so basically,
criminal justice system.
yeah, basically, so they tell you the master trickster. The master trickster tells you to his face, so that way, if you try to sue him, you can't. Because he told you that's the first thing, and even in hypnosis, you've got to get you to agree. So basically, yeah, it's called the criminal justice system, which is justice for the criminals. And it's basically what we're breaking down here is what they do. They take something simple and make it complicated. The first thing to do to create a code is you take something simple and you make it complicated. Then you have the power, because anybody who tries to understand the complication has to stand under you. So understanding means somebody stands under you because you've made something complicated to the other person.
Wow. I never thought about that when I jumpers. The criminal justice system.
Justice for the criminals.
Justice for the
They're telling you to your face. And listen to the sound in the words. So when they say court, that means you've been caught. Just like someone catches a ball. So you're in court because you've been caught.
Whoa.
So that's it. The science of when you now start to use your ear, you start to see with your ears and hear with your eyes. And then you will get wise.
Absolutely. Okay, I want to big up to Simeon, who runs the yoga class, Roots Yoga, as every Wednesday at the Chestnut Community Center. I think it's from 7 o'clock. I haven't got none of the flyers. So if Simeon is listening right now, feel free to send us a text or phone and just let people know. So, and this is a very beautiful sister in terms of her spirit, in terms of how she presents Roots. Just thinking about Roots Yoga, and she's listening right now, and she look into Bless Radio and all this information we're dropping. She's on it to the max.
Oh, it's really the one last week who done the yoga class.
Yeah,
I was in the yoga class. I done it. Yeah. I was doing the yoga. Yeah. It's really good. It's really
okay then, because she phoned in last week,
Oh, she phoned in right. She said she spoke to. Yeah. Okay, look at that. Yeah, it's an excellent class, man. Yeah? An excellent class. Yeah.
I have to get involved in it as well and she's a lovely person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very lovely person.
And it's really a relaxing. But it's based on Kemetic yoga as well, so it's also to do with our ancient history as well. So it's Kemetic yoga, and I brought one of the youths from the Saturday school that I teach was there, and it made him really relax. So really, if you've got children around you at early age, get them into yoga. It's a form it teaches them how to relax. And it teaches yourself how to relax.
How to relax as well, yeah. And just to talk about the ultimate relaxation, because one thing we'll be talking in the near future, very near future, you'll think about mental health, right? We're going to reverse that word and call it negative vibration, because we're talking about mental health. We have to question those words and what we mean by mental health, right? It's just that some people in a negative, dark place, and we'll go through challenges, bereavement, relationships, and so on, so it's normal for us to go through certain kind of challenges, right? But as Jammers would agree, and I would and I'm saying this right now, that where there's a problem, there's a solution. I say that again, where's a problem, there's a solution. That's why yoga is very good, meditation is very good, because what that does, it slows the mind down. As James just said, they experience the whole thing about yoga is very relaxing. You know, I've flown around a little bit about yoga, you know, and meditation, just 1 or 2 classes, but it helps to relax. That's another thing we need to do in this fast pace we're on. And you know that, as Jam just said, that these people are setting a trap for us. You know, everything they're doing is setting up a trap. Because Jams, I must come at this thing about the criminal justice thing here. That one just blow me, you know, because I'm talking about, you know, we bring a case to criminals, bunch of criminals, and just made it quite clear it's called criminal justice. I never thought about that, you know what I mean?
Straight in your face.
Straight in my face. The tin is straight in your face, you know what I mean? We are criminals, you know what I mean? You know what I mean?
They're the criminals. Like, you bring your, how can you go breach you got justice from the criminal? Justice.
Yeah, it's just amazing what comes up. I'm gonna meditate on this one and write some stuff down because that one just blow me, you know. And think. So I'm just gonna because Dougie was mentioning trick. Things is a trick because what it is, as I said, they make simple things more complicated. So you don't really learn a skill. It makes you more confused. So just like the word employment, which a lot of people get employed. Well, the word ploy means to trick, deceive, cunning. So when you're going into employ, and then meant means your mind. So your mind has been tricked or deceived when you go into employment. It's in the actual very word, you know. So once again, meant means mind, like in government means to govern your mind. Parliament, a parlour is a place. So a place where people use their mind is called parliament. Commitment is when the mind is committed. So the word meant means mind. So employment, ploy once again means trick the mind, trick of the mind. M or N means in. So empower, emit means, so you're in the trick of the mind when you go to employment. So why would you want to be employed? The next one is school. School actually means leisure, or it means how to employ leisure. So basically, school doesn't mean to make you enlightened or give you a higher knowledge. It means a place where you can put people who are not doing much and keep them busy. That's what school means. School means leisure. It means relaxation. So you're just keeping a watch over people who are relaxing. So why do you think you're going to be enlightened by sending your children to school? Educate comes from the word duke. It's the duke's money. So basically, when you're going to get education, Sean is the process of becoming the duke's money. So you're becoming somebody else's wealth, like you're becoming somebody else's pound note. You know, so the more talented I make you is the more wealthy I'm going to be, because I can use you to do more things for me. The more skills I give you is the more things you can do to make me money by me employing you. When I'm employing you, I mean, employment mainly means I'm going to trick you to do all the work, and then I'll give you a little piece of the money while I sit back in the chair. Yeah. Okay, let me just deal with this.
Hello? Yeah, I'm just on the...
My name is Steve Pinker, and I'm professor of psychology at Harvard University, and today I'm going to speak to you about language. I'm actually not a linguist, but a cognitive scientist. I'm not so much interested as language as an object in its own right, but as a window into the human mind. Language is one of the fundamental topics in the human sciences. It's the trait that most conspicuously distinguishes humans from other species. It's essential to human cooperation. We accomplish amazing things by sharing our knowledge or coordinating our action by means of words. It poses profound scientific mysteries, such as how did language evolve in this particular species? How does the brain compute language? But also, language has many practical applications, not surprisingly, given how central it is to human life. Language comes so naturally to us that we're apt to forget what a strange and miraculous gift it is. But think about what you're going to be doing for the next hour. You're going to be listening patiently as a guy makes noise while he exhales. Now, why would you do something like that? It's not that I can claim that the sounds I'm going to make are particularly mellifluous, but rather I've coded information into the exact sequence of hisses and hums and squeaks and pops that I'll be making. You have the ability to recover the information from that stream of noises, allowing us to share ideas. Now, the ideas that we're going to share are about this talent, language, but with a slightly different sequence of hisses and squeaks. I could cause you to be thinking thoughts about a vast array of topics, anything from the latest developments in your favorite reality show to theories of the origin of the universe. This is what I think of as the miracle of language, its vast expressive power, and it's a phenomenon that still fills me with wonder even after having studied language for 35 years. And it is the prime phenomenon that the science of language aims to explain. Not surprisingly, language is central to human life. Humans accomplish great things because they can exchange information about their knowledge and intentions via the medium of language. Language, moreover, is not a peculiarity of one culture, but it has been found in every society ever studied by anthropologists. There are some 6,000 languages spoken on Earth, all of them complex.
Boom, yeah, there he goes again, speaking pure gobbledygook, not really talking anything of really, just to complicate everything.
I have to laugh when he said it, man. Here he goes again. So him now sent on the top. Yeah?
No, so because basically the only way to know the true meaning is the origin. So if you're just talking English, you're not giving away. You're explaining. Remember, if you hear what they tell you, they are explaining you. X means to come out plain, not give you no source or no inner group, no truth. They're telling you it plain. They're not gonna go deep into nothing. Explain. X means to come out. X is someone you've left. My ex. Exit means out. So explain means I'm giving out. What I'm giving out is to you is plain things. And black man, the men are like things plain. And that's why we as people complain about everything. We come to things plain. That's why we complain all the time. You're arguing, but you can't win the argument because you've been explained things, so you can only complain about everything. You see what I'm saying? So it's in the word. They're telling you what they're doing. They're just giving you complaints. So basically, the man said language. Language it comes from the dictionary. It's a meaning. It's not the true word. It's a code. It's not telling you what language is. Language comes from the Latin linguo. Linguo means tongue. Lingua means tongue. So basically, when someone's speaking a language, it's their mother tongue so the word language means tongue. It means tongue. So the only way to someone to speak and give you the truth is they're breaking down the meaning of the word, or they're breaking down the entry word. Really it's Latin. So if someone's speaking to you in English, they're speaking to you in a code. They're not telling you the truth.
Absolutely. Okay then. So Jam just breaking everything down to us. Everything down. Let me just play a bit more, because the thing is that, as Jam said, that he's not saying nothing, because if he's not doing the original, right, he's not saying nothing at all, right? So I'm going to just play a little bit more and see.
According to this rule, Captain Kirk made a grievous grammatical error when he said that the mission of the Enterprise was to boldly go where no man has gone before. He should have said, according to these editors, to go boldly where no man has gone before, which immediately clashes with the rhythm and structure of ordinary English. In fact, this prescriptive rule was based on a clumsy analogy with Latin, where you can't split an infinitive because it's a single word, as in facere, to do. Julius Caesar couldn't have split an infinitive if he wanted to. That rule was translated literally over into English.
So there now, Jamie, he's talking about the whole thing about English and the rules, and how do you look at the whole thing about the English language? And I don't want to go about what he says, but how do you look at the whole thing about English language?
Well, it's the word English means you come from. So that's the next. So basically, another thing about a word is when someone gives you a word, words are made up of other words. The other words have got meanings inside them. So the word English has got two meanings in it. Yeah. So this is where you start to find out what the true meaning of the word English is. English has got two words in it. It's got the word ing in it, and it's got the word lish. Lish means from somewhere. Scottish is from Scotland. Spanish from Spain. Finnish from Finland. So ish means from. Ing is the country where it's from. You know. So ing is the new English word for the old English word ang. So the word ing comes from the old English word ang. Ang comes from the first settlers who came from Angleland. Angleland was Germans, like the Anglo-Saxons. Angle. So ing comes from ang. So when you're saying you're English, you're saying you're from ang, which is the modern English from the old English ang, which is the German. So when you're saying you're English, you're saying you're from Germany. So English means from Germany. So the word English means from Germany. The Germans were barbaric Gauls that were named Germani by Julius Caesar. So the word English means I'm from Germany, originally a barbarian who interbreeds, because German also means to interbreed. So the word English means from Germany, a person from Germany who interbreeds. If you look at the royal family, they interbreed, you know. So basically that's what Germany, and that's what gives you the true origin of the word, what it really means, you know. Just going back to what Dougie was saying, criminal justice and law. The key element in law, once again, law is a code that I have to make you believe that I am superior to you for you to follow my rules. Truly, and my code.
Yes.
And that's the key element, is to put a belief in you that I am superior to you. That's the only way I can enforce a law, and it's through a false belief.
And you're absolutely right there, because if we go back into slavery, right, when they was able to kidnap us, right, and what Jam is saying is that, let's put it this way, right. The question I've always asked myself: if we were so strong and powerful, right, why is it we're in the position we are today? And it's quite simple, right. They had to separate the man from the woman, take away our culture and our values, and impose their values and cultures on us. And this is what James is saying. What they've done, they impose their values on us. Right? What we need to do now is to go back, right, into our culture, into our values, because that's where the power is in. See? So James is on point, you know. He's really on point when he says what they've done. They've taken away our culture, take away our values, take away our language. And people understand, you know, James, they take away our language and impose their language on us, right? So we're speaking in a foreign, alienated tongue.
Well, basically what it is, you see, if a person's is more powerful than you, the only way you can become power is let them use their power against them. And that's basically what's happened, is they're using our power against us. You know, we don't realize it, because basically they're using the language that we created against us. When you look at the Latin and the Greek symbols, you'll see that they've been reversed. So when the word traveled from Africa to Greek, the symbols were reversed. Right, the symbols were reversed so that we could not recognize our own language. So they reversed the symbols. The word Latin means to hide and to put into secret. So basically, this is where the coding started. Is when the sounds and the words went to Latin, they were codified so that we, the originators, would not recognize our own. It's like I said, I think last week, that someone's taking your car, you know, and then resprayed it, you know, come back and offer to you to help you find your car. So you're getting in your own car, you don't realize it's your own car.
Absolutely. Okay then. What I'm gonna know, Jam's got some more stuff he wants to read off in a second. I'm gonna play a little bit more of the recording and we encourage people to digest it, you know, and just look of what's been said. So we look at the take it apart.
That language is the same thing as thought, and that all of our mental life consists of reciting sentences. Now that we have set aside what language is not, let's turn to what language is, beginning with the question of how language works. In a nutshell, you can divide language into 3 topics. There are the words that are the basic components of sentences that are stored in a part of long-term memory that we can call the mental lexicon or the mental dictionary. There are rules, the recipes or algorithms that we use to assemble bits of language into more complex stretches of language, including syntax, the rules that allow us to assemble words into phrases and sentences; morphology, the rules that allow us to assemble bits of words like prefixes and suffixes into complex words; phonology, the rules that allow us to combine vowels and consonants into the smallest words. And then all of this knowledge of language has to connect to the world through interfaces that allow us to understand language coming from others and to produce language so that others can understand us, the language interfaces. Let's start with words. The basic principle of the word was identified by the Swiss linguist Ferdinand de Saussure more than 100 years ago when he called attention to the arbitrariness of the sign. Take, for example, the word duck. The word duck doesn't look like a duck or walk like a duck or quack like a duck, but I can use it to get you to think the thought of a duck because all of us at some point in our lives have memorized that brute force association between that sound and that meaning, which means that it has to be stored in memory in some format, in a very simplified form, an entry in the...
Basically, what I said before is Ferdinand de Saussure, which is what my man mentioned. That's one of the scholars that I study, is Ferdinand de Saussure. But you see, this man's missed a point, because the man said duck, and he's a so-called scholar, but he did not relate to why duck means duck. Duck means duck is when they fly by the pond, you have to duck out of the way. So that's why they be called duck, because it relates to the consciousness that these moving objects are moving so fast. Duck. Just like why fly means fly, because what does a fly do? It flies. You see what I'm saying? So there's a certain association. What Ferdinand de Saussure says is that sound is based on your psychology, your physiology, and your psyche. So basically, the only way that you make sound is based on that process, and like the way you make the sounds out of your is determined by your vocal cords, your emotions. So there's certain there's certain your dynamics in you that produces a certain type of sound, and the sound is related to an actual movement of air. That's why the letter A begins to sound, because the first sound that you make relates to the air coming into you. It's the physiological way that you make that A sound is based on air moving into your body. That's why A in most languages is the first sound that most people make. And the baby, when it cry is the first sound when you wake in the morning. So is A because it relates to the physiology of you. Z is the last sound because that's air leaving you, like when you sleep or when you die. So this is the basis of how sounds are made. There's a certain systematic way that you make sound based on how you are constructed as a human being. And this is what this scholar was just chatting a bunch of words, but he didn't even miss the whole point.
Never understand what was going on. Okay then. So these are the breaking the whole thing about words, and say that we have Jam Master, the master of words inside the host here. And on the John Master show, and you know, Jammers is a man, he's written books on this particular subject here. He lectures on this particular subject here, and again, he just knows what he's talking about. And it'd be wise for jammers just take us by step in the near future. The whole thing about words, just breaking the whole thing about words.
I just want to say something about word. Even he missed word again. Remember, I said in the word is a hidden sound. This is why they give you a bunch of letters, so you don't see the hidden sound in the word. Ord is the word ord. Look at the word. The last 3 letters in the word is O-R-D, which says ord. Ord means sounds as in audio, audience, or auditory. You know, so the words inside the word is a hidden sound called ord, and ord is the first sound in the word order or ordinance, so it's a direction. So hidden in the word is a sound called ord, which is directing you to move in a certain way. A word is made up of what? Syllables. The way you know how many syllables in your name is either you touch your chin when you say your name, so jammers, my chin moved twice, so I've got 2 syllables in my name, or you clap, jammers. So you can do this with your children at home, and that's how you'll know how many syllables in your name. The syllables is what surrounds the vowel, the A, E, I, O, U. When the A, E, I, O, U are surrounded by a constant, that makes a syllable. So brother, dougie is 4 syllables. Brother, dougie. Or if you hold your chin and you say brother, dougie, slow down to a robot, then you can tell how many syllables is in your name. Once again, the syllable is based on the vowel sound surrounded by the constant. What is a syllable? A label that seals you. Seal, label. So it's a label that seals you in. So when I say a syllable to you, I'm trying to seal you into that sound. Inside a syllable is what? A vowel. The vowel is the A, E, I, O, U. So this is how the science of the spell of the letter takes place. Vowel is a promise. L is your spirit. So a vowel L is the promise that your spirit is making when you say that word.
Okay. Let me just.
You have a set of nested or embedded long-distance dependencies. Indeed, one of the applications of linguistics to the study of good prose style is that sentences can be rendered difficult to understand if they have too many long-distance dependencies, because that can put a strain on the short-term memory of the reader or listener while trying to understand them. Rather than a set of word-by-word associations, sentences are assembled in a hierarchical structure that looks like an upside-down tree. Let me give you an example of how that works in the case of English. One of the basic rules of English is that a sentence consists of a noun phrase, the subject, followed by a verb phrase, the predicate. A second rule, in turn, expands the verb phrase. A verb phrase consists of a verb, followed by a noun phrase, the object, followed by a sentence, the complement, as I told him that it was sunny outside.
Now the man hadn't said nothing at all here, because basically he's talked about sentences, but he didn't say nothing about sentences. Basically, to do a sentence, you have to use a pen. What is a pen? A pen is a holding device. Pen means punishment or to be held. Like in football, you get a penalty, and when you go in prison, you go into the penitentiary. So a pen is a holding device. A pen is designed to hold you or punish you. So every time you use a pen, as Dougie was saying, in law, you're signing a contract. Every time you put your name to something, look at the word signature. It's made up of 2 sounds. You're signing your nature away. Every time you put that pen down and you create an ink, you're creating a contract against yourself. So basically, remember I said a pen means to hold, or it means punishment. What is inside a pen? Inside a pen is ink. Ink produces what you think. Look at the word think and you'll see ink in it. So basically, everything that you think is coming from the pen, coming from something that is designed to hold you or punish you. So once again, everything that you think about that comes from a pen is designed to hold you or punish you. When you use a pen, what do you use? You make an ink line. So you use a pen that is designed to punish or hold you. With the ink in it, you make an ink line. Listen to the word incline. You become inclined to do things that is designed to hold you or punish you. You use a pen, you make an ink line and you become inclined to be held or punished. What do you use to make a line? What dictates how a line is made? A ruler gives you a straight line. So the rulers, like the king and the queen, gives you the lines that you have to follow with the pen that you write with. So every time you write with the pen, you have a sentence that you have to follow. So if you don't follow the sentence, you're gonna end up being sentenced, and you get sentenced when you put in a sentence and you're held in a prison or a pen. You can't move around in a prison or a pen, so you get sentenced by the sentence, and you're sentenced by the sentence.
Yeah.
Because based on what you now know, you could submit a record breaker for the record breaker, namely, Guinness noted that Faulkner wrote, or Pinker mentioned that Guinness noted that Faulkner wrote, or who cares that Pinker mentioned that Guinness noted that Faulkner wrote, ... This is best illustrated in ambiguous sentences, sentences where the same string of words can be grouped into phrases in different ways, each of which has a different meaning. Take, for example, the following wonderfully ambiguous sentence that appeared in TV Guide.
Right.
Tonight's program...
The guy is fooling you, yeah? He's chatting basics. He either doesn't know what he's talking about, or he's fooling you about the real purpose of word. When he says ambiguous, that means you don't really know what the word means. Yeah, and the other thing what he's talking about is basically, this is now science of controlling you. So basically, this is where you can use words to control you, because ambiguous is a tactic that you can use to make someone focus on something, but they don't know what they're focusing on. How you use it is called a determinative. A determinative is what you can use to control what somebody does. I'll give you an example. When you say the cup, you've made somebody focus on a cup. So I say, pick up the cup. That's a determinative. That means I can determine what you are going to do next by the language I've used, and it's in the word the. Every time you say the word the to someone, you can determine what they are going to do, because you've given them a specific thing to focus on. The car, the shoe, the watch. So every time I say that word the, I'm controlling somebody's level of focus on one thing. Right, the ambiguous thing that this brother was talking about is when you make someone focus on something, but they don't know what they are focusing on. To do that, you say the word those or these. So now if I say these cups, the person can't focus on one cup. He can focus on a bunch of cups, but he doesn't know which cup I'm talking about. So when you say these cups or those cars, now I've got this person to focus on cars, but he doesn't know which car to focus on. This is ambiguous. This is where you get the mind stuck by using the word. It's the small letters that you can determine somebody's behavior by. Once again, I'll give you two of them. You get more at the lecture. The first one is every time you say the word the, it's called a determinative. I can determine where you are going to look. Look at that girl. I've made you look at that girl. I know that you're going to look at what I've told you to look at. If I want you to look at a bunch of girls, but you don't know what, I say, look at those girls. Now you're looking at those girls, but you don't know which one. So this is the power of language, that I can say a vibration out my mouth and dictate what you do. It's called grammar programming from the grammar school.
Right, this is music to the ears.
Of grammar unconsciously from the moment they begin to speak is the use of the past tense rule. For example, children go through a long stage in which they make errors like we holded the baby rabbits, or he teared the paper and then he sticked it. Cases in which they overgeneralize the regular rule of forming the past tense, add ed, to irregular verbs like hold, stick, or tear. It's easy to get children to flaunt this ability to apply rules productively in a laboratory demonstration called the WUG test.
So
you bring a kid into a lab.
So basically, he said the key word that he said is rules. So basically, they've set a code up, you know, so you're no longer free to say or feel what how you want to feel, especially in schools they do this. And they've set a code up that if you're not following the code, then you're doing something wrong. They've set a code up by complicating something simple, and if you don't follow the complicated code that they've put in front of you, then they're saying that you do something wrong. This is called habit creation. It's called reward. Reward, when you get rewarded, remember now, inside the word, we're saying about the sounds, inside the word reward is two sounds. The true meaning of reward is in the sound of the word, the order in the words, the word order. To read the words to look back. So re means to look back, ward is a place of care. A ward is a place of care, especially in a war. So basically, reward means I'm going to give you something that you're going to stay in my care. Just like what happens to a dog. A dog always gets rewarded when it does what the master says. So that creates the habit, because habit creation works by you get a cue, like you might feel frustrated. You have a routine. Okay, I'm feeling hungry. My routine, go to the fridge. You take something out of the fridge and then that becomes yours. Then you become rewarded. So you almost got it wrong. So basically, once you get a cue, hungry, then my routine, go to the fridge, then I get rewarded. That means now the fridge has become my addiction. The fridge has become my addiction, because every time I feel hungry, I make a move to the fridge. And this is how you create habits. Just like driving, you do the same. You reward something, and then that's how you create habits.
Great habit. Okay then. What I want to do, Jam, is let people know about the event was taking place this Sunday, please, and also the following week as well at the Bernie Grant Center. You know, because there's serious
Yeah, so this is the first of the series, and I'm glad that I've got alongside me Brother Minty from Nubian House and Brother Dougie from Find Your Voice, two of the hardest working promoters. We're doing this at short notice, but we're putting a free event, so it's a free event for the community. It's a free event for the community, and Doug, you can just take. I've just got an important call coming through.
That is word salad. That makes no sense. It has to be, is the man who is tall in the room, showing us that it's the structure-dependent rule, not the word-by-word rule, that is correct. But how's the child supposed to learn that? How did all of us end up with the correct structure-dependent version of the rule, rather than the far simpler word-by-word version of the rule? Well, Chomsky argues, if you were actually to look at the kind of language that all of us hear, it's actually quite rare to hear a sentence like, is the man who is tall in the room? The kind of input that would logically inform you that the word-by-word rule is wrong.
Sorry about that, but definitely, Doug, we're going to have to continue this one next week. I want you to play anything you want on language, and I want to break it down and challenge it and show that these scholars, you know, they're just sophisticated, and sophisticated means to fool. But yes, I'm very glad to be working with Brother Dougie from Find Your Voice and Ras Minty from Nubian House to put a community event on. It's free for the community, because nobody's really breaking down the true meaning of words or giving us as a family, and as we're talking about regenerating the family, the true knowledge of words and the trick that they use with words. And this event is all about the African origin and influence on European language, because all language, you look in the dictionary, you're not seeing no associated with words. So basically, you know, our youth and us, you know, we don't have the power of words, because we believe that everything comes from Greece. You know, and we've not been shown how to use words correctly, because they don't teach us grammar. For some reason, grammar, which means language, is not taught in your average school. Only certain people learn grammar, and grammar means to become the programmer. As I was talking about determinatives, you can make somebody act how you want them to act by the very words that comes out of your mouthpiece. Also, on this event, once again, it's the African. You're not going to hear this nowhere else on the planet. So you better plan it to come down if you really want to get the truth about the African, not the Greece, the African origin and influence on the so-called European language. I'll be talking about what European language really is. Once again, the only place on the planet to get this knowledge will be this Sunday. The African, the true African in origin and influence on European language. This is going to be presented by I myself, author of 3 books. I've been studying for 7 years. I'm beating the experts at this topic. They can't keep up with me. And I'm going to be here alongside the great legend from South London, Galaxy Massive, Dr. Abu Ratata will be live from Galaxy the Vadum Man alongside me. Also, Big Bad and Bold, Brother Dougie live in the house alongside Ras Minty. So you've got a powerhouse selection. And alongside, we're going to have some PAs by Ford recorded. Once again, this is not your normal teach and preach lecture. This is, we're going to actually break down this science in front of your very eyes. Also going to give you an etymology workshop. So we're going to give you a workshop on grammar and origin of words. We're going to have a question and answer session, but the big thing is the discussion. We're going to have a live discussion on the power and importance of words, because I've never done a question and answer session before, so it'll be the first time for me as well, where you can come and question and answer anything you want to know about the origin and influence of language. This Sunday at St Anne's Library, Sisbury Road, Tottenham, N15 5PU. Once again, it's a free admission family event. We're doing this for the community, and the date is Sunday the 21st of October, this Sunday, and the time is from 2 p.m. till 6 p.m. so hopefully we'll see you there. There's also stores available. Brother Doug, you want to give out your number for stores?
Yes, 0788 240 3871. I repeat, 0788 240 3871.
Your house and find your voice presents the African origin and influence on European language with renowned speakers DS Jammers, Dr. Abu Ratata Vudum, Brother Dougie and Ras Minty, with live PAs by Forward Recording. This event includes an etymology workshop, question and answer, and live discussion. Venue, St Anne's Library, Sisbury Road, Tottenham, N15 5PU. This is a free admission family event. Date, Sunday the 21st of October 2018. For stores and information, contact 07931 417 553 or 07940 315 710. Start time 2 p.m. till 6 p.m. This is a family event. Sponsored
Be quitters.
the origin of...
Sorry me disturb you.
It's the event of the year. History in the making. Forward Recordings, Nubian House, BB3 Media, The People's Verses, Galaxy FM, Find Your Voice, Black Ice TV, and the More Knowledge Show present the Speakers Club Awards 2018.
October 27th, the General is coming back. The Speakers Club.
Hosted by Lady Essie, Brother Dougie, and
Yush is Andrew Mohammed, aka The Investigator.
with theatre performances by Back Forward Recordings and the New Legends Band.
Regenerating the family and the genius of the black child.
Venue,
Bernie Grant Art Center.
box office 0208 365 5450. Home delivery service for tickets. For information and stores 07931 417 553. And you can watch this live.
And Usain Bolt. So come down and don't revolt. We also got the man like Edison Abanji, the spiritual warrior, in the house alongside Dr. Abu Ratata, the Vum man from Galaxy Massive, and myself, the Words Man. This will be hosted by the investigator Andrew Mohammed alongside Brother Dougie. And Dougie, you ready for this event? It's the event of the year. Also backed by the More Knowledge Show, of course. So get more knowledge as well. It's like going to college.
All right, then. So don't forget, that's going to be the biggest event of the year. Life will never be the same again. So get your tickets now. They're going very, very fast. And Jammers, boy, you're upon farm, man. You know what I mean? And farm, you have to drop that one again, you know, the criminal injustice. But that one really blow my mind, you know.
Yeah, the master deceiver is going to tell you to your face, you know, if your partner cheated on you, the one who's the master is doing it right in the front of your face. So the language system is designed to do it right in front of your face, so you can't sue them because they've told you what they're going to do. So criminal justice system means justice for the criminal.
So remember we was talking about right? When you got your case, you don't bring your case to a criminal. You bring a criminal to court, you know. And that's what, James, when you drop that, when you brought that down, that just makes so much. And we're talking about trying to get justice.
That's right. And if you look at the word justice, you see the word just what I see. So basically, they're just basing it on what they see. Listen to the word court. It's when you've been caught out. That's why you're in court, because you've been caught. They address you because they can tell how you dress. Your address is how you dress. So the style of how you dress, they think is where your address is. That's how you address you, because address means to talk to someone. So they're talking to you in your address. And if you don't see this, you must have a closed mind.
Absolutely. But there's clues all the time, you know. There are clues all the time. Boy, the master jammers, and no wonder you're going from strength to strength, my brother, because nobody can't test him right about no. You know, when the man is gone clear.
Respect every time. And if you look at the word clear, it's got the word ear in it, and I'm hearing you, and it goes into my heart. In the middle of the word heart is the word ear. You take the H from the heart and you put it at the end, you see the word earth. That's how we're connected to the earth. Because you look at the word earth, take the H from the end of the earth, put it at the front, you see the word heart. Thank you.
All right, boom, boom. Jammers out of the way.
Risk of choking, showing that language presumably had some survival advantage that compensated for the disadvantage in choking. What about the flow of information in the other direction? That is, from the world into the brain, the process of speech comprehension. Speech comprehension turns out to be an extraordinarily complex computational process, which we're reminded of every time we interact with a voicemail menu on a telephone, or to use a dictation system on our computers. For example, one writer, using one of the state-of-the-art speech-to-text systems, dictated the following words into his computer. He dictated book tour, and it came out on the screen as back to work. Another example, he said, I truly couldn't see, and it came out on the screen as a cruelly good MC. Even more disconcertingly, he started a letter to his parents by saying, Dear Mom and Dad, and what came out on the screen, the man is dead. Now, dictation systems have gotten better and better, but they still have a way to go before they can duplicate a human stenographer. What is it about the problem of speech understanding that makes it so easy for a human, but so hard for a computer? Well, there are two main contributors. One of them is the fact that each phoneme, each vowel or consonant, actually comes out very differently depending on what comes before and what comes after, a phenomenon sometimes called co-articulation. Let me give you an example. The place called Cape Cod has two k sounds, each of them symbolized by the letter C, the hard C. Nonetheless, when you pay attention to the way you pronounce them, you might notice that in fact you pronounce them in very different parts of the mouth. Try it. Cape Cod, Cape Cod. In one case, the k is produced way back in the mouth. The other, it's produced much farther forward. We don't notice that we pronounce k in two different ways depending on whether it comes before an a or an ah, but that difference forms a difference in the shape of the resonant cavity in our mouth, which produces a very different waveform. And unless a computer is specifically programmed to take that variability into account, it will perceive those two different k's as the different sounds that, objectively speaking, they really are. They really are different sounds, but our brain lumps them together. The other reason that speech recognition is such a difficult problem is because of the absence of segmentation. Now, we have an illusion when we listen to speech that consists of a sequence of sounds corresponding to words. But if you actually were to look at the waveform of a sentence on an oscilloscope, there would not be little silences between the words, the way there are little bits of white space in printed words on a page, but rather a continuous ribbon in which the end of one word leads right to the beginning of the next. It's something that we're aware of when we listen to speech in a foreign language, where we have no idea where one word ends and the other one begins. In our own language, we detect the word boundaries simply because in our mental lexicon, we have stretches of sound that correspond to one word that tell us where it ends. But you can't get that information from the waveform itself. In fact, there's a whole genre of wordplay that takes advantage of the fact that word boundaries are not physically present in the speech wave. Novelty songs like Maresy Dotes and Dozy Dotes and Little Lambsy Divey, a kiddly divey do wooden shoe. Now it turns out that this is actually a grammatical sequence of words in English. Mares eat oats and does eat oats, and little lambs eat ivy. A kid'll eat ivy too, wouldn't you? When it is spoken or sung normally, the boundaries between words are obliterated, and so the same sequence of sounds can be perceived either as nonsense or, if you know what they're meant to convey, as English sentences. Another example, familiar to most children, Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear, Fuzzy Wuzzy had no hair, Fuzzy Wuzzy wasn't very fuzzy, was he? And the famous doggerel, I scream, you scream, we all scream for ice cream. We are generally unaware of how ambiguous language is. In context, we effortlessly and unconsciously derive the intended meaning of a sentence. But a poor computer, not equipped with all of our common sense and human abilities, and just going by the words and the rules, is often flabbergasted by all the different possibilities. Take a sentence as simple as Mary had a little lamb. You might think that that's a perfectly simple, unambiguous sentence. But now imagine that it was continued with mint sauce. You realize that have is actually a highly ambiguous word. As a result, computer translations can often deliver comically incorrect results. According to legend, one of the first computer systems that was designed to translate from English to Russian and back again did the following. Given the sentence, the spirit is willing, but the flesh is weak, it translated it back as, the vodka is agreeable, but the meat is rotten. So why do people understand language so much better than computers? What is the knowledge that we have that has been so hard to program into our machines? Well, there's a third interface between language and the rest of the mind. And that is the subject matter of the branch of linguistics called pragmatics, namely how people understand language in context, using their knowledge of the world and their expectation about how other speakers communicate. The most important principle of pragmatics is called the cooperative principle, namely assume that your conversational partner is working with you to try to get a meaning across truthfully and clearly. Our knowledge of pragmatics, like our knowledge of syntax and phonology and so on, is deployed effortlessly, but involves many intricate computations. For example, if I were to say, if you could pass the guacamole, that would be awesome. You understand that as a polite request, meaning, give me the guacamole. You don't interpret it literally as a rumination about a hypothetical state of affairs. You just assume that the person wanted something and was using that string of words to convey the request politely. Often, comedies will use the absence of pragmatics in robots as a source of humor. As in the old Get Smart situation comedy, which had a robot named Jaime, and a recurring joke in the series would be that Maxwell Smart would say to Jaime, "Jaime, can you give me a hand?" And Jaime will then go remove his hand and pass it over to Maxwell Smart, not understanding that give me a hand in context means help me rather than literally transfer the hand over to me. Or take the following example of pragmatics in action. Consider the following dialogue. Marcia says, "I'm leaving you." John says, "Who is he?" Now, understanding
among his influences, and remained on the stand-up circuit throughout his career. Later he featured in long-running staples Have I Got News You and Grumpy Old Men, as well as the influential Knowing Me Knowing You with Alan Partridge. As an actor, he had parts in Casualty and The Bill and appeared in The West End alongside Christian Slater.
Can I really say what an absolutely marvelous idea I think it is to be involved in this live television link-up thingy yet again. And can I really say, honestly, I think it's such a marvelous idea to see so many Afro-Caribbean people gathered together doing our ting, as we say in our patois. I'm feeling awfully bushed at the moment, or should I say mash up. Because I was raving last night, you know, and, well, you see, a whole heap of my spars come my way. And, well, we mash up the place. Oh, yes, the place is totally rammed. Serious red block. My spars really know how to enjoy themselves when they want to. So, anyhow, it must be well gone 11 o'clock before they chip. I actually went and danced myself later, because I was trying to meet a sister, you see. It's been quite some time since I've been with a sister. Must be 1, 2... Well, actually, I've never been with a sister. I shouldn't actually be talking about this, you see, because I'm actually married to Camilla. We have 2 delightful children, or Pickney, if you prefer. Abigail and Alexander. And my wife, she's actually Caucasian. Now, some people, they do tend to make rather an issue of this, you know, saying, well, why is it that you professionals often seem to have...
Okay, then, the show after the show. And again, we had the great man, Jammers, the Jam Master Show. And Jammers is on point. Everything he does, he doesn't amaze me, you know. He's so informative, you know, so inspiring, you know. And there's no magic. He studies. When he comes to words, he studies things, you know. And he's turning it upside down. And he's doing a workshop this Sunday at the St. Anne's Library, looking at your thing about etymology and looking at your thing of words in it from the African perspective, you know, the original, and you're going to break it down, and you can see he's on fire. And the following week at the Bernie Grant with Sarah Seti, you know. So you can see that we're in no joke business. And inside the house, we do have a beautiful sister, Sister Margaret, who will be sharing some information with us, what's happening in the community. And she's sharing her story. Also, we have Sister Natalie, also be sharing some information as well. She has a book called Remote Control. And I've been listening to Natalie's journey as well. And one thing she'll be talking about in the near future, very near future, we've got to plan it properly. The whole thing about mental health and how it ties into the old system. You know, again, she's done a lot of research in that particular area, and she shared some information with us. But she'll be bouncing with Sister Margaret, because what Sister Margaret's going to be sharing with us is very sensitive, you know, and it's all about the grooming, you know. And I do have a perspective on it. It's a simple perspective that the people who do this thing now are dumb, wicked, bad-minded, evil people. You know, simple as that. Take advantage of young, vulnerable children, our family, you know. Very disgusted, and Margaret went because she's had some personal experience. But Margaret, we don't really have time to really go into your personal business right now, because, you know, we have to really go into your CV. We'll be here for another half an hour, only scratching the surface, the kind of work you've been doing over the years. I know you're someone who used to have a stall over in Angel. Yeah, that's in Angel, yeah?
Yes.
Angel is the CEO over that side there. Them time now, I think I was very much into the center business myself. I saw posters and all that kind of stuff there, up and down. I know you're a businesswoman, you know, in terms of...
Yes, I am.
Yes, you know. You've also written a book, thing about relationship, you know. A very successful launch. I was there. And you're going from strength to strength. But even still, I didn't know that you had some challenges with your son, you know what I mean? Some serious challenges, you know what I mean? And one day last week I was just talking about certain things what people go through, and you said, listen, I've been through that, you know what I mean? I said, what? I think, but it'd be wise, Margaret, just to bring us from the beginning, right? In terms of why you want to put this event on, and what happened with you and with your son and so forth? Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Brother Dougie, to invite me. It's been an amazing journey. The program that we're having this Wednesday coming, Wednesday the 24th, it's called A Brighter Future for Our Children. And really, we have to look at our children that they have got a future. Even though we hear this in the media, it's not very, very positive. The amount of young children that have really lost their lives at the beginning of this year, and it's all negative stuff. So for me, what is really making me so passionate, wanted to put something, this event, A Brighter Future for Our Children, is not so much for the children, it's actually aiming directly to the family and the parents. And the reason being, I feel early intervention is the most important thing. And that is to let the family know actually what's happening outside the streets. You know, from the time their child leave early in the morning to go to school and when they're coming home, what happened to them? Because around this time now, you're no longer holding their hands, taking them to school and picking them up. They're in secondary school. They don't want you to go to school with them. They don't want you to do like the school drop. And I think when we get to that point, I know definitely as a parent, I sort of relaxed a little bit because I no longer have the school run. And I think that you sort of like get relaxed, you take your eyes slightly just off the ball. And there's a lot of stuff that's going on. And one of the reasons for me personally that I wanted to put this event is personally about my own journey, because my younger son, I'm not going to go into detail too much about it. But my younger son, he was groomed at the age of 14 or even younger. And I wasn't even aware of it. I didn't even know until I got a phone call from the police. And I'm thinking, they got the wrong child. No, my son, no, please, he's at college. He's not, you're not talking. So I didn't know until 2 years down the road. And at that time, it was getting even deeper. So it was a tough time, a tough journey. And for me, what I find that there was nowhere I could go for help at that particular time, at that particular moment. Who can I get to mentor him? Where can I get information? You know, we've overcome the whole journey, but I realize a lot of the parents that we train don't have that information. So hence, that's why I'm putting this program on.
Okay, then. I want to let us know about the program, what's going to take place, the speaker, a little bit background about the speakers, and and the venue and that stuff there, because we need to know exactly where it's going to be. We want to encourage many people to be there. Just give a little information about the program and the speakers as well. Okay.
Well, the program is really what I want the parent to come out of it, the information that I want them to come out of it. It's actually to know how easy it is your child to be groomed. Okay? How easy it is. So we're going to be playing videos and how simple it is, like a plate of chips. You know, somebody's waiting for their child, because what they've done is they're targeting young children or young boys that don't have money, you know, after school, they're buying the chips, so they wait for them, so they pinpoint them. And when I'm training some of the family and the lone parent, I always say, I know things are really, really tough, things are really hard. Make sure your child have that £2. Make sure that child has that £3 so they can go and buy what they need. It is tough, and I had to do that with my son. So they look at children. They already know children that they can pick up on. So we're going to be watching videos, that kind of videos. So you'll be mindful. You'll be mindful of that as well. We're going to be watching videos how they got into this grooming and the drug and what's happening, how they got the knives, how they got. So we're going to be, so we're going to have watch videos. So there's going to be a lot of discussions that is going to involve. We're going to have the main speaker of the whole event is a lady. I'm not going to say much because it would be really nice to hear her story. Her son was an A student, got a scholarship, supposed to be trained to become one of the top football player. He came home one day. He should have come home first from university, but he went to see his friend, and he found that his friend was getting some serious problem. So he jumped in, and he got killed instantly.
Oh, God.
You know, but from her story, she's gone on to do the most amazing thing. Out of a lost, some amazing things has come out of it. She's doing some amazing projects, but she works more with young girls that they've been identified going into gangs. And that was another amazing thing. When I was doing my research, there's not much thing about girls that are in gang and what's happening to them. So people, it'd be really nice if you got young ladies, young girls, that you can come in and listen to this amazing story, the amazing journey. We're going to have a teacher as well who works with the young boys in gangs and that kind of thing. And he's going to give practical tips to the parent. What can you look out for? You know, so he's going to speak as well.
Okay, because in terms of conversation you mean you had last week when you phoned in, that is this something where you're looking to probably roll out in different boroughs and probably all over the country, probably eventually, because this is like a pilot at the present moment now, yeah?
Yes.
Etc. And this is something what, you know, we need. Now, the next question will be on my mind now. Schools, are the schools are involved in this initiative what you're trying to put together?
At the moment, because I'm not 100% sure, so we're not really inviting the schools or the police at the moment to come and talk. Because another thing we need to address is county line drug network. I didn't know what that was at all, what it means.
Sorry, county line
drug networks.
Okay, I don't know what it is.
I know I didn't until one day I went to this Enfield event that they were having, and what really pushed me is they had a massive crowd, a massive turnout, but they weren't dealing with the deeper issues. County line, sometimes you get like on a WhatsApp, it will say this child is missing, and you think, yeah, okay, this child is missing. Those of us that pray, we pray and everything. And I remember having a very interesting conversation with my son. I said, oh look, all these children are just going missing. And my son looked at me and says, they're not missing. I said, what do you mean? He said, no, they're not missing. But he didn't elaborate any further. Then when I went to this meeting, then I find out, no, actually they're not missing. So whoever has groomed that child, then they take that child and move them to another different area. So that's what's happening at the moment. And the thing is, a lot of us parents, we're not aware of it at all. And the parent can't do nothing about it. And the police, well, they're trying to do their best.
Okay,
that kind of thing.
Okay then. So, as you said, at this point, you're not looking to get involved the schools at this present moment, yeah? Because the reason why I said that, because obviously that the school, they've got responsibility as well in terms of being more observant, especially when children leaving lunchtime and after school and everything, that the teachers should be a bit more vigilant, just observe some kind of strangers or people come into the school and everything, and they've got responsibility. So if they feel suspicious about any particular individual, right, they report it to the police. I just want to bring it to, because they've got to be on alert as well.
Yeah, the school has to be on alert as well. I don't really know much about school because it's a new pilot scheme. But as I'm talking to you, something that really I remember, my grandson had this, the post-school thing. He's not part of it or anything. For some reason, this young boy just decided like my grandson. And he's just come off the bus. It was about entering the gates. And there was a teacher on the gate door, to the school door, and this boy started chasing my grandson. And so luckily the teacher was just there opening the door, so he was like saying to my son, come on, opening the door. But as soon as my son got in, they closed the door. So again, they have a lot in their hands. But although at the moment we haven't really truly involved all the schools, but even though we've got a teacher coming from one of the schools, so that is a starting point. Like you say, it is a pilot. We are trying it, but hopefully, if everything goes really, really well, people turn up, come and support us. I would love to roll it out to Haringey and other boroughs as well, so other parents will know exactly what's happening.
Okay, then. Let people know about the venue, where it is, exactly where it is,
Okay. It's definitely on Wednesday, 24th of October, which is next week Wednesday. Please come and support This is, we really, our children do have a brighter future, but it has to come from us as a parent, giving them the support they need. The venue is at the community house, the community house, 311 4th Street, Edmonton, N9 OPZ. It's not far from Edmonton Police Station, where Asda is, so just where the traffic light. So it's not really that far. So you can come, you can phone us to register, or on that day, just come. You know, just come, and you're gonna learn so much about your child. You can ask questions. If you had anything that was really worrying you about, at least you're in a very safe environment and you can get as much knowledge and information as you can.
And the more I think about it, it's a very powerful initiative, because I mean, at least I can see what we're going to do. At least the parents them can network and share information among each other as well. But to me, it's very, very important. You know, at this stage here, you know, very, very important. You know. Also, in the house, we do have Sister Natalie. Also, we have Regional Supreme inside the house. Also, we have Bless. They probably want to jump in and ask some question as well. Natalie, you got any question you want to ask my sister? Natalie? Natalie, put the mic on. Your mic's on?
Yeah, the mic's on.
You got to turn it up from there.
Turn it up.
You, number 3 or 4.
Go on, Natalie. Should we? Natalie, you on?
How frequent are these events going to be?
This is our very, very first event. This one is our first very event. And with the turnout and what we get back, we evaluate everything. And then from there on, we aim to put another one, you know, hopefully by next year, because as you can see, the year's coming to an end.
Natalie, your voice was very, very quiet. One of you did repeat that question again. And the question.
And I was just saying, at the moment, this is a pilot scheme. We see how everything goes really well, and then we then evaluate everything from there and see how we can move the whole project forward. But hopefully by next year, we should be able to run another one.
Able to run another one.
Yes.
Okay then. So it's just really, again, it's really a pilot to see how things are, and then with that, you know, if we put things in place, and we can able to roll them out on a regular, and it should be rolled out. Objective is, or purpose is to roll it out all over London, all over the UK. You know,
definitely all over London, because I feel when we had a sort of like a celebration with all the last year December, we had a celebration with all the family that gone through, the lone parents that gone through our projects and everything, and we had this guest speaker to speak. We didn't have much time. They were asking so much questions, and we realized a lot of them really didn't know what's really going out there. And I feel very strongly, if the parents are empowered and know exactly what to do and where they can get help and support very early, I think it would reduce what we're seeing out there, because the parent would be able to intervene. The parents would be able to ask the right question with their children. The parent will have to see how they can guide and direct their child. I know definitely when I was going through the situation, I had to change my mindset, how I dealt with my son. I can no longer have my son coming in and I'm yelling and screaming, you know what, I had to change the whole mindset, how I spoke to him when he come to the house, what kind of conversation I need to have with him. I need to police his room. Oh God, I hope he's not listening. But a lot of parents I didn't know. Only when the sand hit the rock and that was it. I woke up, and I realized a lot of parents didn't know that information. So yes, so I'm very passionate to be able to say, look, if you check this, if your son comes with this, ask the question. If you didn't give them £5, why are they coming home with £5? Where did they get the £5 for? Ask the question, So those are the information that I want the parent to have.
Okay then. And it's quite interesting because, I mean, for example, if you ask a child, all right, so for example, he comes in with a bag of money, say, I don't know, £200-300, right? And you say, well, where you get that money from, right? Already, you can see there's going to be some resistance there. And again, it's how you deal with it. Do you deal with it and say, well, lick him down or whatever, or he say, son, where did you get that money from, man? Can you explain? You know, it's quite a different kind of dynamics now, because the way you used to parent in the early days, it's not the same.
You can't.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know, because you know, in my case now, you know, if my dad or my mum see me anything suspicious, they just look at me and say, look here, you don't bring them something down. They'll deal with me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's their philosophy.
Yeah.
That's their solution. You know, you know. But obviously now it's different times now.
It's completely different. I'm gonna give a tip somebody out there, because for me, one thing I put in place and I insisted at that time, doesn't matter where he went, where he go, he is coming home on Sunday for dinner. Sunday's family dinner. My son, yeah. I had to make sure that was a grand rule. And do you know what? Because I stuck on it, he came. And I make sure that we have breakfast, right? Saturday morning, even though I work, you know, but Saturday morning, I as a parent, I'm in. And that was the time I could actually talk to him, because he can't run him eating dinner. So he had to sit down while he's eating. I'm able then to sort of gently ask the questions, because at that time, that's that moment he's...
Okay, let me just ask a question. I have to answer this question, because obviously you're talking about your son, right? And I'm going to ask Spin Doctor and Nat to come in. When you spoke to your son, who was going through, you know, was there a little bit of fear in him? Was there a little bit of resentment in terms of talking to you? Just what was the relationship like?
You see, what happened, my son was really, really quiet. So what I instilled...
Oh, he was quiet, yeah?
Yeah, very quiet.
Is it quiet by nature?
It's very quiet by nature.
Oh, right, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, if you see him by nature, even if you see him now, he's really tall and everything, you can see that quietness. But my God, it's deadly. But what I did when he was young, one thing I really instilled in him all the time,
yes,
I am your best friend, so we can talk about it. So I use that all the time. That I am. So what does best friend do? We share.
So you had a good relationship still in it.
Yeah. So because I really did that at a very early age, and have to open the door, so we are able to talk about a lot of the stuff and that kind of thing, because that friendship up to today's day. Because as far as I'm concerned, I'm going to be a mother till the day I die. Yes, that's not going to change. But if I have his friendship, if I have his trust, and we can talk, then that's for me. It was what helped me.
Because you had a relationship,
relationship,
Me understand now.
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, naturally, Supreme, you want to answer any questions?
Well, I just wanted to add to what Margaret is doing and saying, and there's a big thing here that I hear, that we really have to really look at parenting as really, really serious. And I would even say even the girls, you know, because I was told, I don't know if this is true, the highest pregnancy of teenage pregnancies in Northumberland Park. It used to be in the borough of Southwark, but I've been told it's Northumberland Park. But where I'm going with this, I was a single parent. I brought up my daughter for a specific time, and the one thing that I implemented is that anything that my daughter's interested in, right? Anything that my daughter's interested in, I will have to be interested in it. Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you.
Yeah.
Yes. We have to. You know, we absolutely have to show interest in what our children is doing.
When my daughter came from school, this might sound regular. I asked her how was her day, what did she do. I want to get involved in her homework. I took an active interest in my daughter's activity. If my daughter was into natural hair, I was into natural hair. She's into blogging, I'm into blogging. And if she's into choir, I make sure I turn up to the school and go to the choir. Now I'm going to say something, and this is kind of, you know, when I went to my daughter's, school open evening, right, I'm okay. I went to my I went to my daughter's school open evening, yeah?
Yeah.
And she's a teenager. You know what I saw? And it just, I froze. There was a girl in her age group pregnant. And I was like, wow.
Was that at school?
Yeah, the girl's pregnant and she's in school. And I'm not trying to put the girl down, but I was just thinking, wow. You know, do we blame the parent or do we the child? But it's children or teenagers being teenagers.
Yeah.
And I realised, and it just kind of scared me for a while. Like, wow, like if it becomes too normal in school to be pregnant, the other girls will be doing the same.
Yeah, true.
That's the problem that I started to feel. I was like, oh, so it's good because back when I was in school, if a girl got pregnant or teenage, they actually had private tuition and stuff.
Yes.
Do you get me?
Yeah.
But now the way things have changed, I was like, wow, they're normalizing this what's happening, and I'm not discrediting the parent or the daughter, but it just put something scared me.
But just to run on what you just said though, Supreme, because I'm not really up to speed what's happening in the schools now, right? But would they have like a support network for, and that they might able to correct me here if I misrepresent information. Would they have some support network in the school? Would they have like a social worker or something in the school to support that girl if she's been pregnant or whatever? In the school, I'm asking. Oh, naturally, any one of you can ask a question.
On occasion, they have sort of counsellors or people available to talk to, but nowadays with all the funding cuts, I think those sorts of services are being reduced quite a lot.
Okay then, because I'm just making an assumption that the school would have some kind of mechanism, some prevention in that case there to support the child, and that. But it's again, and this is not about blame, because I mean you got to stand right. I'm just throwing things out there because I don't have the the answers. You know what I mean? Let's be clear about that. But people will blame the parents. The parents should be more visual and should be more observant, right? And at the same time, people blame the child. The child should know better, and so on, so on. So whatever happens, something's gone wrong. You see what I'm saying? Something's gone wrong there. And at the end of the day, right, I won't say we all got to take responsibility as a family, as a community. See what I'm saying?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I agree with you.
So so Margaret, if people want more information, is there like a contact number or email address or
yes? If people want more information, they can call me on 07469 181 634. I repeat, 07469 181 634, or they can go to the website, and which is www.hnrtrainingprofessional.co.uk, and they can just leave their details there, and we contact them.
Right. And don't forget the time is from 10 to 2.
Yes.
Right. And Wednesday,
the 24th.
Yes. And it's at the community. The community house?
Yes, it's at the community house, 311 4th Street, Edmonton, N9 OPZ. It's not too far from the Edmonton Police Station. As soon as there's a Edmonton Police Station, there's a set traffic light. As soon as you get to the traffic light and the venue is just there, you'll see a sign saying the community house. So
okay,
yes.
And Margaret will be regular here just to bring us to speed what's happening with this initiative and some other things what's happening as well there, because it's a community and they do quite different kind of things. What else you do, Margaret, just to let people know, just so...
Well, what also we do, because I'm very, very passionate working with lone fathers as well as
fathers, yeah.
Yes, with lone parents and 50 plus. What we offer them, currently we have got a funding which is which is free. You know, most of the workshops that we run, they're actually free. Before we was able to have across the border, so Enfield and Haringey, but again, because of funding, so we work a lot in Enfield. So we run things like business workshops, they're free. And I always encourage people, look, come. If you're not doing anything, come. So they're free. And we're currently running a teaching assistant course, all right, for those for those, particularly for lone parents, you know, because of the hours, the dropping and everything. We're currently running a certificate to mentoring as well, okay? And we're having a new program coming in. All these programs, they are actually free. We're having a current program coming in, which is called Functionable Skills. Because what we realize, a lot of the lone parent, they've been at work for such a long time bringing up their family and things have really changed a lot. And what's happening now with employers, you have to do an assessment. You know, you have to do a numeracy and literacy assessment. And we find a lot of our participants, when they go for an interview, they're actually failing.
Okay.
Yes. So what we've done, we've managed to secure funding for that. So it goes hand in hand with the teaching assistant. So it just gives you a lot more build up, a lot more confident. And it's only 2 days a week. And again, the hours is from 10 till 2.
10 to 2.
Yeah. So, and they're all free. The workshops are all free. And also, they are all in the community house.
All in the community house.
We're local.
Okay then. All right then. At this point here, we're gonna put a pin in it because we do have sister Natalie will be coming on very shortly, right? And Margaret, again, you're not a stranger among us. You know, you're part of the community, you're part of the family, and what you do is tremendous work in the community, and we need to support you 100%.
Thank you very much. Okay. Thank you so much for supporting us, brother. Thank you.
I shouldn't actually be talking about this, you see, because I'm actually married to Camilla. We have 2 delightful children, or picnic, if you prefer. Abigail and Alexander. And my wife, she's actually Caucasian. Now, some people, they do tend to make rather an issue of this, you know, saying, well, why is it that you professionals often seem to have Caucasian partners? Well, I get awfully cross with that question, you know. I really do, because the assumption is that simply because one's partner is of a different background, that means that one is out of touch with one's own origins. I mean, absolute tosh. I mean, look at me, for instance. I mean, what more roots and culture could you get than myself? In fact, my wife is very much in touch with our culture. You know, she doesn't try to ripen green bananas anymore, you know. In fact, I met her at the opera. I really love opera, as I'm sure you do. I hasten to add, not as much as I adore dance hall, the rhythms of which are quite beyond compare. However, when we became engaged, her family were not best pleased with us. It seemed that there was some problem relating to the fact that I'm not Church of England. But in any event, life goes on. We live in Cobham, a rather delightful part of Surrey, you know, and one doesn't really see many people there of my hue. But occasionally I might see a brethren, you know, if I'm walking along, and if I'm driving along, when I do, I normally just wind my window down and shout out, "Wicked! Blouse and skirts, go on, my brethren!" But one does have to be rather careful, because on one occasion I did this, and I was chased for 3 miles, by a brethren who assumed that I was criticizing his driving. However, Cobham is a lovely place, but it's not entirely free of contretemps, you know. Contretemps, yes, right. Recently I arrived home rather late from a dinner engagement, you know, and I was aware that there was a group of young men with rather short hair, skinheads, I believe they're called, milling around on my lawn, and one of them seemed to be in the process of etching something, some word like NIG or something on the lawn. Well, I informed him that I was not best pleased, that that this was my property, that they were trespassing on my property, and that we weren't socially acquainted. But I really would appreciate it if they would post-haste vacate. Or I would have no alternative but to call the police. Sad to report, they were the police. Rather disappointing, I thought. In view of their attempt to recruit the ethnic minority, I hardly believe that is a way to win hearts and minds. Thank you so much.
Hey, Twilight was playing down the club, you know? Yeah, I know, man, but there weren't no girls down there. What? Twilight always bring girls with them, man. What's dry, man. Dry. Nah, man. Hey, listen, there's a couple of girls directly behind you, right?
Okay, then. So that was Sister Margaret inside the host. Just let us know about this information what's taking place this Wednesday coming at the Community House, 311 4th Street, Edmonton. And this is all about look at the brighter future for our children. Now I was playing some recording by the great man Felix Dexter, you know, and he was a great talent he was, you know. I know Supreme knows him as well and probably tried to test him on the comedy circuit, you know. Yeah, so that was great to just play a little bit of it. Okay, inside the house we do have Sister Natalie, who will be reasoning with us, touching on thing about talking about a book and talking about mental health, and just sharing some insight what's been happening. And Natalie does regular presentations. I saw the last two at Auntie Jean's event, and you know, she's going from strength to strength. What means from strength to strength? Not so much strength to her presentation. What she, as you know, she's very thorough, but she's growing so much status. That's the word I'm looking for. You know, very assertive. You know, and her story is quite amazing. Quite amazing. You know, very committed. You know, individual in terms of helping people to feel their true potential. Anyway, again, we don't have time to really go into Natalie's business right now because we'll be here for a very long time. You know, only scratching the surface. So, but Natalie, how you feeling right now? You know, and again, welcome you to Bless Radio, and also inside us we do have the Spin Doctor Supreme. We'll also be asking some questions as well. You know, but how you feeling?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Okay, then, fantastic. So, Natalie, let's go straight to the chase. You know, you've written a book, Remote Control.
I have.
What made you want to put this book together? What was the motive behind it?
Well, I myself has been experiencing some things going on for the past well over a decade now, and having done my research and sort of found out what was actually going on, I felt it's important to make the community aware of things that were happening sort of behind closed doors, and sort of hidden in plain sight. I felt as it was brung to me, it was down to me to share my knowledge with others, especially as this is something that affects the black community quite a lot.
Okay then. Now then, the question would be that that when you gave a presentation at Auntie Jean, one of the things you were saying that it's mostly women who have been targeted.
That's correct. Yeah.
Targeted and so forth, right? And in fact, at the Auntie Jean's event, there was a sister there who's, well, there's in fact, there's three of them went through similar experience what you've been through, you know. So when they're able to hear that you was talking, they were to come down and share their experience and so forth, right?
That's right.
So
yeah.
why have you done any research on why is it mostly women they target them, and why you say it's women? Why do you think it's women? Yeah.
I believe it's just because women are easy targets, really quite vulnerable and easy to put under a lot of stress. The majority of the women that came up and spoke to me at that event were all single women, so they haven't sort of got a man around them, which makes them sort of easy to get at, I imagine.
Okay then. And I want to zoom in here, right? And how did this really come about? I mean, is it because you was at work and you had a high-powered job, and you know, how did you was experiencing? How did when the first signs of you hear, cause it's quite interesting because I don't know if you know a sister called Sevens.
I do, yeah. I've been in contact with
Sevens, right? And she was talking about similar things was happening with her, but I can understand with Sevens because Sevens was she was very powerful, you know what I mean? Very, very powerful sister, you know. She's created this and that, and she's ready to expose her, and they basically tapped her phone and this and that and everything, and and it was quite devastating. So, but I mean, what I want to get back is when was the first time? What was you experienced certain kind of people going certain things and suspicious? Yeah.
Well, for me personally, I began to experience noise disturbance, which was like every night I'd go to bed, I'd hear like loads of car doors slamming, which may sound pretty innocent to most people. As you go to bed, you hear a car door slamming, one or two. But if you hear about 5 or 6, and then you notice it starts happening more and more frequently, as in if you could have a routine of going to bed the same time, maybe perhaps about 11 o'clock. Every night you go to bed at 11, you'll hear 5 or 6 car doors slamming. It makes you immediately know that you're being monitored, as if that's done for your attention. It's the frequency and pattern of these things happening. I also started noticing that certain neighbours would leave the house exactly as the same time as I do, and perhaps come in exactly the same time as I do on a regular basis. So you're aware that you're being monitored somehow, but you just don't know how or why. This all started happening after I actually took Islington Council to court, and I won. Just because we were mentioning 7, a lot of the time people become targeted, it's because they've actually upset someone in a position of power, which is why I believe it started happening with me.
So, all right then. So, the moment you put Islington Council to court and you won the case.
That's right. Yeah.
That's when all these things started to you start experiencing all these things like the door slamming and neighbours coming at a certain kind of time.
That's right.
So, but I mean, would you? We have the spin doctor in here as well, so it'd be interesting to get him to get a spin punted. But did you what I mean? Did people say that you're getting paranoid, or did you feel you was getting paranoid, or
No, because you sort of know yourself and you know what you're bearing witness to, and like I said, it's the frequency and the pattern of events. So it's done in such a way that it's overtly covert, if that makes sense. It's done in such a sense that you're it's designed to make you aware of what's happening, but also that if you were to mention these things to someone else, they would think it's a bit of paranoia, because why would anyone do that to you, you know?
When you say frequency, because people are listening, out there, but people are listening and want to know way more frequency and certain
the regularity and the consistency of these things happening. So if something happens once or twice, you know, you brush it off and it wouldn't be anything. But if it happens at a regular time, like I said about the car door slamming, every time you go to bed for a pattern of weeks or months even, then you notice that these actions are directed towards you because it's the same thing happening the same time.
And
which is sorry to interrupt you, it's a common technique of sort of organised stalking and targeting to make the person aware of that they're being monitored, is to carry out these particular actions. Some people get sensitized to certain things, like but mine was cars, doors slamming. Some people get sensitized to colours, so they might see someone all dressed in red everywhere they go. They might go to the supermarket and there'll be someone all dressed in red, and then they go post office, someone's all dressed in red. They go to the park, someone's all dressed in red. So it's these things that to the untrained eye, people sort of really wouldn't notice anything is untowards, but if you're being sensitized to a particular thing, you would notice the pattern.
Yeah, but it's quite interesting that at the event at the Auntie Jean's, that there's someone there I do know. She went to the same school as me, and she was there with her niece, right? And you remember she was saying that she's going through a similar experience what you've gone through, and her aunt was saying that they thought she was going mad or she's paranoid and everything, right? But it's only now they start to realise that no. And obviously being at the event there and linking up with you, and there's other sister there as well, you know, and they're saying the same kind of pattern as well. So it's quite interesting because someone who just hear these things for the first time and said, Chad, what am I talking about? If people, a woman are mad somebody and paranoid and all them kind of something there, and you know what I mean, and thing. But I mean, it's not you. There's other people as well. It's sort of something must be going on there, and obviously now we get to the root of it. That I mean, it's because of you won the case, and because of that, then they must have burnt them, man, and you know what I mean, all kind of something there. But you see what I'm saying? So we can at least tackle. Supreme, you want to add anything what's been said? You know, truth, yeah. Is your mic on, Supreme?
Yeah. I got to say good evening to Natalie and yourself. Nice to be here on Bless Radio. One of the things that, this is just me personally, that I realise as people, I realise that a lot of us live our lives in what I call automatic. We automatically do things, and we don't automatically assume. Is it automatically assume things? But we just move in an automatic mode. But I find that when we sit back and start thinking and reflecting on certain things, we realise that there are things happening that we've taken for granted. And then when we bring those things to the forefront, some of the times people think you're just being paranoid.
That's correct.
And I'll tell you, last week, I sat down and I saw someone's behaviour, right? And at first I ignored them. Then I realised, no, the person done a certain behaviour and movement because he was watching me do something and he was checking up on me. But the way he done it was like he was going to talk to someone else. But I realised, no, he came. When I sat, it's only 2 days later, when my mind is more focused and relaxed, I realised, no, that person actually was checking what I was doing actually on my computer, but made it out that he was going to talk to someone else. Because then I realised there's certain actions he done after that. You know, when in other words, I think when you're not in an automatic mode and you're in a manual mode, you join the dots together. I don't know how to explain. You realise, oh, what was that about? No, forget it. But when you sit down and you realise, hold on a minute, that behaviour plus this plus that is equaling something ain't right. And sometimes we don't address it because we fear, or we think, nah, you know what? should I, and this is funny. Should I go to someone else and tell them? But no, they're gonna ridicule me because they think, nah, and sometimes when we do go to people, we think, no, don't bother. Ah, he's like that, or no, you're taking it too seriously. And sometimes you have to realize that sometimes we have to be in a mode where we sit back and we reflect and say, I wonder why this and that, and join the dots to realize that something is going on in the background.
But something,
definitely.
Just to ride on what you said, Supreme, right? That it might be slightly off page, but it all links, right? I don't remember Supreme and that the footballer Fashioner.
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember Fashioner?
Yeah.
And Fashioner is a successful footballer, entrepreneur, right? And you know that his phone was tapped, right? You know, everywhere he was on surveillance, and he said to himself, what's this? Because he was an up-and-coming entrepreneur and he was influenced a lot of people all over the world, and right, and he had to buy a device, right, to unblock what's happening in his yard, right? But this is a professional, well-known individual, right? And yes, he was getting paranoid, what's happening to him. So what I'm saying, Supreme, right? And that I mean, it's up to everybody, right? And I just want to throw in the mix because this is someone you thought, it's got a certain kind of credibility and might do things, but no, they're watching him and so forth, right? See, so it's interesting when what's Natalie was speaking and you're speaking, Supreme. That I mean, on that level there, see, and this people like Fashioner, you can imagine other people who's just doing things. So don't bother think that, what I mean, these people ain't watching you and try to to mash up your movements. You see what I'm saying? And if you're not aware, you might feel. If you're not aware what's going on, you feel secure. You know what I mean? And this thing can drive you mad, as well. Could drive you crazy off board, you know what I mean?
Yeah. That is the intention of this. It's like a social engineering program. So it's designed to control people and either send them mad or instill change in their behaviour because they're aware of this constant surveillance and monitoring. I'd also have other things happen at home, like people flashing their headlights at my window if I turn the lights off, for example, then I'd get some car headlights flashing in my window, and this would again happen very frequently, so I'd know it was directed towards me. And then it would happen sort of whether I was upstairs or downstairs, so the car would park on the street and direct its headlights either upstairs or downstairs. As I'd switch off a light, then someone would be flashing their headlights in my window. So there are various different techniques that are used to let you know that you're being monitored, and it is sort of a psychological attack that is designed to sort of destroy a person. This is only the initial phases of it, though, the organised stalking. And after having written my book, I've spoken to many people, especially in the borough of Haringey, who have been experiencing something similar. It's quite a growing and widespread problem.
Okay then. This might sound like a fool question, and to some it is a fool question. But I have to ask this question: have you thought about speaking to the police or people authority just to
It's not a silly question at all. I mean, initially I did speak to the police. This was prior to having done any research and actually finding out for myself what the program's all about. It's actually a global thing. It's not just happening in the UK.
Okay.
It's happening in the States. It's happening in Australia. It's happening in China. So this is, like I said, it's a government program that's being, implicated by the government. So to go and ask them for help doesn't really make sense, you know. Most of the police are aware of what's going on, and if they're not involved in it, they're told to sort of deny it.
Yes.
A lot of the neighbours sort of work together to monitor you, follow your movements, and partake in all sorts of silly little harassment and street theatre, which is where they'll sort of mention things that you've mentioned in the privacy of your home or over the phone, just to know that your communications are also being monitored. For example, I've had a time where I've been talking to my sister on the phone. We've been going to go out, and I've seen a blue dress that I've liked, and I've said to her, "Oh, I'm gonna go and get that blue dress from such and such a shop." And then I might come out of my house and go to the shop, and like as I'm walking along the road, 30 seconds later, someone will walk past and mention the blue dress that they're going to buy from the same shop as me. So they do all these silly little mind game things to let you know that you're being monitored and watched. It's all very disturbing. I don't know if the neighbours are told certain things for them to partake in this programme, because it's quite evil when you think about it. And the people that do participate end up sort of not being able to live their own lives properly because they're constantly watching yours and monitoring your movements. So, you know, it's detrimental to both parties. Really.
The question is, I know Supreme's got a question as well, but when you're ready, right? But the question will be, what's your state of mind? And I mean, how do you cope with this from a day-to-day, and what's your mechanism, and do you have like a support group?
Well, I've reached out to a lot of other people. Some people have even reached out to me, which makes me feel that I must be on the right track. Like I said earlier, I've had a lot of women come up to me and say they've experienced the same thing, or they still are experiencing the same thing, which makes me feel that writing the book was a positive step, because it's allowed people to come forward and they know they're not alone in telling their story. I've actually communicated with a lot of people sort of across the globe about this this situation, what we find ourselves in. Personally, I just try to keep educating people. Knowledge is power, and I believe there can't really be any sort of change if people aren't actually aware of what's really going on out here. So that's what I'm trying to do, to keep busy and to get through, just to spread the knowledge of what's actually going on. And I think most people are kind of aware there's a sort of, unnatural mystic in the air. That's what I like to call it. Is because wickedness is unnatural, isn't it? That's not the way we're supposed to be. Do you know what I mean? And I think most people can sense that something's actually going on out here, but they don't really know what it is.
Know what it is.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
then. All right, then. What I'm going to do now, we're going to have a very short break for a couple of minutes. Yeah? And then we will continue the whole reasoning.
Greetings to one another. Yes. So this morning, me in my bathroom, and me I do my home chanting, and the vibes come to me, and would I like to exercise it. So, I have to say, good vibes. Yeah, I gotta say good vibes, brother man, and I want the man them to say good vibes. And then the woman them, when we say good vibes, sisters wanna say good vibes. So say, good vibes, brother man. Good vibes. Good vibes, sisters.
Good vibes.
All right, now I want you to take it from just underneath you, your neighbor, yeah? And bring it out, and bring the whole feeling and everything. So we say, good vibes, brother man.
Good vibes.
Good vibes, sisters.
Good vibes.
Good vibes, brother man.
Good vibes.
Bring it out, bring it out. Good vibes, sisters.
Good vibes.
I want you to feel it, you know. I don't want you just say it, I want you to feel it. Good vibes, brother man.
Good vibes.
Good vibes, sisters.
Good vibes.
Good vibes, everyone.
Good vibes.
Good vibes, I and I.
Good vibes.
All right, now. Why you feel good within yourself, you know, because if you don't feel good within yourself, the sickness that we are talking about now go left. You understand? It just now go left. So we really have to have the right state of mind. So today, before I tell you what we're going to talk about. In Jamaica, I have a barber shop where I go to because my friend them there and play a draft and them thing there. And one virgin here me attack and him I say, who you Natty? And I say, I am I. And him say, nah man, how you? And I say, I'm I. And him say, oh yeah, go on so. I want to know who you. I say, you don't want I to be something different to I. And him say, sure, how you deal with man? I say, why you want I to be, you want the I want I to be? So, it's all about the I and I. So today we are going to talk about wholeness or oneness. Yeah? So everything is one. Earlier we hear Vasco did remind about the water where I'm talking about. We are all make up of water. We all make up a vibration. Yeah? We all make up a consciousness. As we is one. You think that joke? One of the biggest business in a medicine today are body parts. Yeah, them call it organ harvesting. I that them call it. No, the body part business is booming. All 400,000 you can get a heart for if you're not the money. But the reason why organ harvesting exists is because it can go inside how we once it can be adapted within your system. So if you have the right kind of genes and genetic thing there, it can come within you and your body accept it. This couldn't happen if we weren't one. You understand? So this oneness that we talk about. Now, a mother can there in Africa and her child get licked down over here in England and she feel it. Why? Because of the oneness. Because everything operates on a conscious level, on a universal vibration. And they don't want us to be one. Some people sing the song say they don't want us to unite. Because they are using their intellect to divide us and to separate us, to take us away from one another and put we in the me phone. Yeah, I don't want to say iPhone and me phone. Yeah, because Rasta, I take what they take
Okay then, we just touched a little bit of Russ McCoy and the seminar what took place at the in Dalston, and it kind of ties into what Nat is saying, is that they don't want us to unite. Yeah, that's what it comes down to. What Nat's going to talk about? No, she's going to talk about some of the device, what they use to the frequency, to manipulators and so forth. Yeah, and she's going to be touching around that because this is a very sensitive subject, you know. And again, you know, there's evidence out there what they're doing, and question everything. Question what's been said today. That's the way we can learn. Question. Don't dismiss and say chair blah 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 blah. At the same time, don't take on board what everything was saying. Question it. You know what I mean? Right? Do your research. Do your research. All right then, Natalie, you want to share some information with us?
Yeah, I just wanted to let people know that regarding sort of mental health and paranoia, maybe you've had a friend or a sibling say that they feel like they're being monitored or stalked or followed, or have other things happen to them, like physical things, like electric shocks or vibrations while they're trying to sleep. I've done my research, and these types of technology have been patented since the 60s, the early 60s. It's now 2018. You can imagine how far along the technology has come. And there are various different types of technology. I mean, people in my situation have deemed the term sort of targeted individuals to describe themselves, but I prefer to call myself a victim of remote neural monitoring, because all of this program is designed to sort of change your behavior, and it's about control. So they're actually monitoring your behavior and how you think and the movements you make. There are various different types of technology that have been patented, like I said, since the early 60s, that can induce certain states of behaviour in a person. They can change your emotions, designed to make you feel sad or angry. I mean, even things such as the riots, was it 2011, that technology could possibly have been used there, designed to make the young people feel angry, or to create chaos, because when you're young you hear at a different pitch and frequency to older people. So there are various technological apparatus out there now which uses radio waves and frequencies for riot control and crowd control. So it's not sort of a huge step to imagine that if they're using this equipment on crowds, they can use it on individuals too. It's just a logical step on from that. So this is what's happening. But at the moment, there are methods for you can induce sound to people without another person around them hearing that. It's called a method for auditory subliminal messages. So what they're doing is using technology to induce sound in your auditory system, and people could be sitting in the same room as you and they wouldn't hear that. Now, if you go to the doctors and say that you're hearing voices, they'd say that you're mad. But all of this equipment and the patents for it are actually out there. And bearing in mind, you can't actually patent a technology until you've actually tested it on people. So these technologies are not being tested now. That's happened. They're in operation. This is not experimentation. This is it being used now. Yeah, I just want people to understand that. There are also methods for changing sort of your nervous system vitals. So, changing your temperature. They can make you hot. They can make you cold. There's so much different things, and it's all in my book, Remote Control, which is available on Amazon at the moment. There are methods of
inducing sort of frequencies in your brain waves. They can sort of make you feel something, or they can monitor and change how you feel. This patent is from 1974. I just want people to understand that this sort of experimentation has been going on for decades and decades, and now you can imagine with the advancement of technology that, you know, certain things have come to pass now. I'm always reminded of when I was younger and I watched Total Recall, and you saw someone talking to someone on the phone, and you could see them on the screen, and you thought, wow, that could never happen. This seems so far away. Now you have FaceTime, you see?
Yeah, but naturally, I just want to jump in there because it's interesting. What are you talking about? These are kind of things they show
you, right? So watch the films that they're showing you now. There's one out there called Upgrade, and that's about sort of mind control and implanting people with chips and certain devices that sort of control their body and their thoughts. They do show you. It's just whether you're paying attention enough to see what they're showing you. There's even news that Google have made an edible chip that can read your thoughts. This is news. It's not on the mainstream news, but it's news from.
Did you know about that?
Well, you know what? I didn't want to stop Natalie's flow because the information you're giving out.
It's heavy, man.
Wow.
I didn't know that. So there's a certain chip that can read your
thoughts, and it's being created and produced by Google, and it's edible. You just eat the chip. That's right. So the technology is way, way, way advanced. They've also got e-tattoos, which is a tattoo that you just put on your skin, and that can read your thoughts and change the way that your brain works. Neurotechnology is a big thing out here, and I've done my research into it, and it's one of the fastest growing industries there is. It's all about control.
It's interesting because I was doing some research, and it was something to do with the Speakers Club, and I said, and it kind of touches on what Natalie's doing, and I don't know if she's heard of the term psychotronic.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. And it just came to my mind as you were speaking of it, and it was based on a film in 1979 where it talks about it's about frequencies controlling your mind, yeah? And they was talking the same thing. You mentioned quite a few things that kind of, wow, I said, well, digital drugs, you know? But this psychotronic, using audio frequencies to evoke emotion.
That's correct,
right?
yeah.
And some people might think, Natalie, Supreme, you're talking some conspiracy thing, but I'm gonna say something here. We have to look at, let's say, music. If we play reggae, if we play a certain type of music, it puts us in a certain type of mood.
That's right.
So we have to realize, right, that that's a frequency, that's a music, that's a control.
Right.
And I'm gonna say this, when advertisers use music, they use music to spark off you to buy something. So if you hear this music, I feel like chocolate all of a sudden. I don't know why. The cinema
because
does
the
it.
corporations already understand how frequencies work. It's just that they don't divulge that information to the public, so you have no idea that there's something clicking in your brain to make you buy that chocolate or listen to that particular record. But those in power, they know how things work.
But that's the same thing when we were talking at the beginning of the show when I said some of us are just living our lives in automatic. It's the people that come out of automatic that realize, well, hold on a minute. Why do I do what I do when I hear this? Or why is this affecting me? But a person will say, you know what? You go in their fridge or you go in their house, everything is what they want you to consume. You know, you walk into a shop. Let me tell you something. I remember one time, right, and I watched it happen. I walked past HMV, right, and HMV was quite smart. Christmas time was coming, and I was by HMV, and they saw some children walking past, and you know what they done? They played Bob the Builder, and the kids turned around and went, Bob the Builder. They automatically done the dance, and the parents were forced to buy the track. Do you understand what's going on here? And I thought, you know what? They knew that the children would react when they hear the song. And being a parent, they're saying to the parent, if you care about your child, you must buy that track. You must buy that song. Yeah. So you automatically doing things because they are evoking it. You know, you get what I mean? That's what I see. And there's a lot of things that we see. You know, sometimes even myself, I say, sometimes I'm driving, and after a while I'm driving down the road and say, what the hell am I driving down here? Because it's just like something told me to go down here, or you understand. And I realize when it's almost like I don't know if you ever do something and then you catch yourself and you say, why did I do that? And I think a lot of us don't question ourselves. A lot of us don't ask, you know. Well, anyway, I'm not going to stray. But
No, but you see, you're making some very valuable points, Supreme. And that just shows you how much we've been conditioned and how much we've been programmed, you know. And we're talking about from the subconscious level. Everything's from subconscious level. I mean, you made a brilliant example, right? When they played the track Bob the Builder and the children started to react. And obviously, they made the parents feel guilty and have to go in there and buy the track and so forth, right? I mean, all you have to do is just walk along. We've walked down Wood Green High Road or any high road, and look where McDonald's are, right? Soon the children see the McDonald's. Hey, McDonald's! They start get jumpy. You see what I'm saying? You know, and they want to go. Yeah, you see what I'm saying? Because they social McDonald's as a family environment, the colours, and you know, and these people spend millions of pounds. You know, they have the top psychiatrists, you know what I mean, you know, working us all the time, you know. It's interesting. The other thing about music is a good example, you know. I mean, it's quite interesting because you know, sometimes they put on these on TV, these punk groups and rock groups, everything, right? And you know, Supreme and Natalie, you know, when we listen to reggae music, right, it makes us feel calm, and you know, if it's a nice lovers, you want to dance and feel nice, you know, and something about music makes you feel nice, right? We watch something, right, where they play some rock music and the people they mash up the guitar, right? Right? Mash up the equipment, right? Right? And the more the people want, you know what I mean? And I said to myself, what's that? And the people start spit on the people in the crowd and everything. I said to myself, nah man, we don't understand this thing yet. You know what I mean? Right? And this is a regular thing for them. See? Right? So it's something in the music when them just go off key. Right? So what Supreme was saying, what Natalie's saying, right? And most people can relate to what I'm talking about, the music. See what I'm saying? Right? And also, it's quite interesting that like now, right? If you look up, and Supreme can correct me because I know there's been a lot of research in the whole thing of the music and hip hop culture and so forth, right? That certain kind of hip hop music or rap music, you know, if the lyrics them, right, and you know when people are drinking and them are smoke, they behave kind of crazy, you know what I mean, right? And something to the frequency and so forth. See, so it's quite interesting, yeah. So Natalie, is there anything else you want to add in terms of frequency and what's being said? Yeah.
I just want people to do their own research and look into what's happening globally. This is like the biggest thing of affecting this generation, you know. It's a matter of freedom, because if you are not in control of your own thoughts, if they can be manipulated by frequencies and technology, then you're no longer in control of yourself, are you? That's your freedom gone. So you need to think about the kind of future you want your children and your grandchildren to grow up in, you know, because this technology just keeps getting more and more advanced as time goes on.
But it's interesting because from time to time we talk about frequency and vibration and so forth, yeah. And one of the things, we're saying that we need to connect with nature, connect with nature, going to the parks and just connect, with the ground, walk on the ground bare feet and look into the sun to what's the word I'm looking for, to empower yourself. It's a word I use, granted, but when you look in the sun, it vitalizes the whole system in your body, and thing where these people are totally opposite. They're looking to destroy you by the vibration and the music and the food and how they program us, you know what I mean? So, we have to take responsibility. And Supreme made a brilliant observation, you know what I mean, with Bob the Builder. And I hope to ride on that because, straight in my mind that, this punk thing and this rock and roll thing, you know what I mean? Like I said before, we like to, when we play our music, we feel good, we feel nice, reggae music, and fuck, you want embrace with man, want dance with woman, woman want dance with man, and, loving, right? With the opposite, where people want to destroy each other, take the guitar and beat people with it, turn on them thing there, and spit, but I mean, you can't get round that. You see what I'm saying? And this is what they're about doing and so forth. See? So we need to understand what's really happened to us.
Definitely, I'd just like people to, like I said, to question everything and remember that much of what you see around you is just a distraction. Look a little deeper, question things, and with what's happening with me, a vast majority of my neighbours are involved. And, I don't know what the incentive is for them. It's probably some sort of financial gain if they're paid to monitor me or, watch me or something. But I'd ask people, don't sell yourselves out and go and get involved in stuff that you don't even understand, because what's happening with me, I can safely say it affects all of us, which is why I'm here talking. It's not just about me, it's so much bigger than that. So I'd like people not to just go and get involved in something that they don't really understand, just for financial gain,
Yeah, it's interesting because when we talk about the mind, I also think about the brain and the chemicals that are released. We talk about the endorphins, the dopamines, and things that happen when you're feeling happy, things that make you feel happy. And just like Natalie was saying, that I do believe there are buzzwords and words that people are using on us to manipulate us as well on that frequency as well. And they actually say between the years of 0 to 7 has a lot of impact on us and how we learn or what we learn between those ages. But it was very interesting, the conversation we had before with what's the lady's name? Margaret.
Yeah.
And the situation with the gun and knife crime, the gangs and stuff like that. And I don't know, this is my opinion. There's a certain time in your age where youngsters seem to just switch off, and they seem to know it all, and you can't talk to them. And my personal belief is that straying backwards, we have to know our child between a certain age, and I think that age group is around 10 and 11. And I think when they start reaching the teenage, they believe to believe that they know it all, and they believe that they see you and what you're doing in your life, and that's why they're now kind of rebelling and saying, well, Mummy and Daddy, you've been doing this for 50 years and I don't see no money. So I am gonna now get involved with, certain activities that will get me to the place that you've been trying to do for years faster. Some of our youngsters pick this up, and we're dealing with frequency. They pick up that, boy, Mum and Dad, they go to work 9 till 5 and they're still at the first square. The youngsters are saying, well, I'm not going to go through that. And the television actually endorses a lifestyle of crime. So we got to look at, if they're endorsing a lifestyle of crime and that crime does pay, then the youngsters, these teenage youngsters are going to start to think, you know what, being an entrepreneur to them might be selling weed. Being an entrepreneur for might be they're going to get girls to be prostituting, because they're realizing, you know what, it's easy money. Most of the things that I look at is that the sister was talking about county lines. I never heard all the conversations, but this grooming thing, we cannot take that for granted. You know how many times within the last month I got emotional when I'm hearing young girls have gone missing. 3 days here. Three young girls have just gone missing, and they've just gone missing out of the blue. Their behaviour is, then they've just gone. 2 weeks missing from the household. Why? People don't know. But what was going on in the background was somebody's grooming them. But the groomer, this is what I have to say to youngsters, the parenting is very important. The groomer's actually saying, what's your mum doing for you? What's your uncle doing for you? What they actually doing is breaking you down to say, you know what? What you like? You like let's say Nintendo. Come round my house and play Nintendo. When a person's grooming you, they're actually breaking you down and getting you on their side and giving you the things that are making you feel good as a youngster. And they say, you know what? You could be like me as well. Look at all these things I've got. You want to get these things? You just have to do something simple. Grooming is such a thing at the moment that parents get to know your child. Yes. Get to know their friends. When you know their friends, get to know what they all do, what they all like. Trust me.
But
anyway,
can I just interject there and say that I know we went slightly off topic there, but in terms of the grooming, like I said, with my situation of the organised stalking and harassment, many of my neighbours are involved, and some of their children are involved as well. And you think sometimes, and I'm sure this applies to sort of, this county lines and child trafficking, all sorts of things. Like if you see your parents are a certain way or involved in certain things, you can't expect the children to then, they haven't got anything to learn from. If the parents aren't their own masters of their own destiny and are just about materialistic things, then obviously that is what the child sees,
Absolutely. Okay then. So we've got about 10 minutes. No, sorry, 10 minutes. About less than 15 minutes. About 12 minutes. We're gonna wind down. There's some couple announcement I have to make. on the show here concerning this weekend. Nothing's happening this weekend. I know Supreme's going to be at the heavyweight event was taking place in South London, and I will ask Supreme to read that some information was taking place, and also this Sunday, yes, at St Anne's Library, Jam is doing a workshop, etymology, everything about words and look at the root of it, and Jammers and. What else happened this weekend? I don't know if there's anything else happened this week. But I know the following week, all roads lead to the Bernie Grant Centre with Sarah Setti. So we're going to mention a little bit about that. So, Natcha, do you want to give it your email address or people get your book from, etc.?
Yep, my book Remote Control is available on Amazon. It's $13.50 and I don't make much of it because it's self-published, but for me the issue is more letting people know what's actually happening in their community and communities around the world. This is a really serious issue, so I'd urge people to go out there, buy the book and read it, if not for yourself, just for your children. Like I said, it's really important. Obviously in this brief discussion I couldn't really go into the depth of this story, but it's quite heartbreaking and evil what's happening out here, and people really need to be aware of it. So I would urge people to go out there and buy the book. If anyone wants to contact me, they can do via email. My email is more, that's MOORE, Natalie, NATALIE 513@gmail.com. That's Natalie Moore 513@gmail.com.
Okay then. Supreme, you want to mention about the event what's taking place this Sunday?
Okay.
You know?
This Sunday,
I shouldn't make him at the men's event because we have we've done a event with Jammers as well. So, but it's all good spirit because we want to get as much people come to Jammers event. But this event looked like it's a serious event still.
Well, if you're in South London, this is what's happening locally to you in the auditorium of University of Lewisham Hospital, Lewisham High Street. Auntie Jean, the Sunday African Cultural Market, presents the returning of three heavyweights, which is Tony Warner, Andrew Mohammed and Robin Walker. Come and be entertained by, I really believe this, the best inspirational teachers in their field, talking about our story during our month. I know some people are against Black History Month. Some people call it African History Month. Some people are saying it's African Holocaust Month. Okay, so this week, Sunday, the 21st October, between the hours of 1 p.m. to 8 p.m., tickets are £7. So make sure you reach. That's this week, Sunday, from 1 to 8 at the University Lewisham Hospital, High Street, SE 136LH.
Absolutely. And Supreme, you got information for the event for next 27th. There's a flyer here. I'm going to ask Supreme to read it out first, please. Thank you, Supreme.
Okay, don't forget once again the National UK Conference, which happens on Saturday to 27th of October. This is the Speakers Club Award 2018. Key speaker is Saran Sutton Sete, otherwise known as General Seti in the country. We also have Edison Abanji, we have Dr. Abu Ratata, and of course DS Jammers, the word scientist. The topic for the evening is regenerating the family and the genius of the black child. The venue is in Tottenham, of course, the Bernie Grant Centre, Town Hall approach. Tickets are £20. This event will be live streamed worldwide. You can get via pay-per-view. Saturday, the 27th of October, between the hours of 5 p.m. till 11 p.m. And the venue is the Bernie Grants Arts Theatre. Okay, Town Hall approach. The National Club Speakers Award. The panel will consist of Paul Lawrence, Israel, Lyndon Walters, Sister Andrew, Errol Hines, Kareem Blair. We'll also be having BAP Theatre Group. The event will be filmed by AV Media and Red 559. It will be hosted by our very own Brother Dougie here in the studio. And I've got to say, Brother Dougie, earlier on you was talking about speakers, and one of the inspirational speakers that I find motivation, I've got to say, is Les Brown. Right. Andrew Mohammed, the investigator, also will be a host. So please make sure you reach that one and find out more about that event. Go to www.alloneword.thespeakersclub.co.uk. Okay, that's this week, Saturday, the 27th of October, 2018, the Speakers Club Award.
Absolutely. Okay, then, so we're going to bring this segment to a close. I'm talking about Les Brown. Sabrina's put me to play Les Brown, you know what I mean? And Simone, if you're still around, I know you like this one I call My Roots, but I'm going to play Les Brown first, right? And then play My Roots. And as you know, Simone, she has she does the Roots yoga.
Unlived life. I'd like to leave this with you that Mama used to love to hear me say. She'd say, boy, say that thing for me, and I dedicate this to you, to the greatness that's within you, because it's there. If you want a thing bad enough to go out and fight for it, to work day and night for it, to give up your time, your peace, and sleep for it, if all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it, and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famine, struggle, sickness, or pain of body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim you besiege and beset it, with the help of God you'll get it. You have greatness in you. You have greatness. You gotta be hungry. You gotta be hungry. People that want to step into their greatness are hungry. You gotta be hungry. You gotta be hungry. To give up your time, your peace, and sleep for it, if all that you dream and scheme is about it, and life seems useless and worthless without it, and if you gladly sweat for it and fret for it and plan for it, and lose all your terror of the opposition for it, and if you simply go after that thing that you want with all of your capacity, strength and sagacity, faith, hope, and confidence, and stern pertinacity, if neither cold poverty, famine, struggle, sickness, or pain of body and brain can keep you away from the thing that you want, if dogged and grim you besiege and beset it with the help of
Somebody said, I'm hungry.
Talk.
I'm hungry.
About being hungry. Talk.
Somebody said, I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
It is something I like to share some ideas and thoughts with you. I'm not asking that you believe anything that I say. I'm not asking that you agree with me. I'm merely asking that you stand on and in the conversation that we'll share with you this evening. If there's something that I say that can fit and work for you, I say use it, use it, use it. If not, discard it and let it be.
Greetings in the name of the Most High. Selassie is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Selassie is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Selassie is King of Kings and Lord of Lords. Conquering Lion of the tribe of Judah. I rebuke all negativity. I rebuke all animosity. I rebuke all of the envy. And Jah shine his light on me. Say I rebuke all of the hatred. And I rebuke all of the greed. I rebuke all negativity. And Jah shine his light on me. Just call me your friend. I'm a camel in the desert. I'm a lion in the field. I'm of the tribe of Judah. I'm a Nazarite for thee. I'm a peacemaker. I'm of justly character. I'm like as a dove, come to unite all with love. I'm a precious stone. I'm a precious gem. You can call me Jacint. You can call me your friend. Where there's love, you will find me. Where there's hate, don't remind me, because the tribe of Judah now resides in me. And I rebuke all negativity. I rebuke all animosity. I rebuke all of the envy. And Jah shine his light on me. Say I rebuke all of the hatred. I rebuke all of the greed. Say I rebuke all negativity, and Jah shine his light on me, yeah. I'm a Nazarite for thee. I'm a Nazarite for thee. I'm a Nazarite for thee.